Let's see if I go to a page. Okay, we do half and half the page. We can do half and half the page. I'm on some early morning shit. I haven't done an early morning live stream like this in a while. What's up, Lola? I haven't done an early morning. Good to see you this morning. I haven't done an early morning live stream in a while. And I had to ask myself, how come I haven't done an early morning live stream in a while? I don't know. To be honest. You know what? I think it's because I done set up my other setup where my live stream is going. Now my professional live stream, and I moved a lot of the stuff over there. But it's not hard for me to do this. I just had to find me another stand to hold my iPhone so I can be free. But we're gonna be going into, you know what? No, you're not Geechee. You're Haitian. You're Haitian. This is going to be talking about the Geechees to a degree. Not really going in about the Geechees, to be honest. This is really to show you where this started. I did a live stream recently where I was confronted with a grok thing. Here it is. Okay. Let me wipe my damn screen off so y'all ain't looking at smudges all over the place. Hold on 1 second. I can at least do that. I can at least be presentable if I'm gonna do if I'm gonna do this. Okay. Alright. Still cracked the screen, but whatever. I really need some Windex. Alright. So I was confronted by someone. Let me just sit that up and do that like that. I was confronted by someone, and Grok gave this particular thing, saying, he was asking, hey, are there instances that people in America, black people, African Americans, if anybody was able to trace their line back to Africa? Now, the best thing Grok could come up with was this. Hey, DNA matches, right? Ship records, which my video that he's responding to was about the lack of ship record manifest. And on top of that, they talked about a particular guy named Darius Brown. They said he was a genealogist. The genealogist Darius Brown, for example, linked his family back to some ancestors. Let me see what y'all saying down here. Said they mostly from Barbados. Oh, okay. Oh, Barbados. And see, wait a minute. Yeah, that's like the hold on. See, my geography be off when it comes to them islands. Hold on. Let me look at where Barbados is on a map. I'm like, let me not just guess Barbados. Okay. St. Peter. So you're close out. You're more closer. They're more closer to the South American shoreline than they are the North American. But definitely, we all still the same, But to a degree, we got our differences, different tribes, different cultures, different everything. But we all Americans, is what I mean. Okay, so you said you use AI for anything. Y'all use AI for anything. You might be talking about these folks. Angel. You ain't talking about me. The only thing I use AI for, I'll show you what I use AI for if you are talking about me. I use AI to transcribe documents because I can't completely read. I mean, I can decently read, like that's Phoebe, Johnny. I'm not sure what that is. I'll let ChatGPT deal with that. Deanna, Molly, Billy. Again, this is important. We're going to get to this particular thing because he's saying he's saying this right here might be his ancestor named Musa and Judy. But we'll get to that because I don't believe that. And I'll tell you why, because everybody else on this page has Linda, Prince, Sam, Dublin, Hercules, Billy, Aaron, Lyria, Alicia, whatever, Johnny, whatever, Phoebe, because I might show a video here momentarily where he claims that one of these people are his people. He also claims that what did he claim? What am I thinking about? He claimed that there was a bunch of African names in here, and that's just not what we see. And ChatGPT didn't get Musa in there, but it might not have been able to read it, which is why I think they're purposely doing this on purpose. And I'll show you. So right here, let's see. Musa should be after Charlotte and Abram. And I see Abram, Charlotte, but you see ChatGPT couldn't really transcribe it, right? It went to Alcy. It says Alcy, Charlotte, 500. It said that this is Alcy, ALSE, or something. So it's not really sure. And the reason why I'm saying that is I think they trying to pull a wool over our eyes and be like, oh my God, that's Musa. There he is right there. That looks like an African name, right? And it looks like really they just covered up some of the spelling of this word by the letters from the top word, and now it's almost unreadable. Okay, I don't necessarily see a M. Could be a M, could be U, could be a SA, but I don't know. I see what y'all think. Is that a Musa next to Judy? And why would this dude claim? Because look, in this book, he's gonna claim Musa and Judy. And let me show y'all. So really, I went and bought the book. Okay, I went and bought the actual book on Kindle, so I can do this. Let me see what y'all are saying. Yeah, you see it say Sambo too. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, who named these people? Kwamino. There's two other African names. Where you see African names? Hold up. You saw Kwamino? Oh, Kwamino. That's supposed to be an African name? Okay. We'll go that they had an African Kwamino. Okay. But let me just see. Hold on. Let's instead of just taking words on it, Kwamino. Let's just see what pops up. The Duchess Kwamino as an enslaved pastry maker and entrepreneur from Africa. Now this is on enslaved.org, so it's going to be biased, but let's see if we have any actual primary sources. Author Edward Andrews. Like, where did they get that when Kwamino died? Read the full story, full biography. Let's go there. Let's see if we can get a primary source versus just an article, unless the article was on a government site or edu, which this was on an org, enslaved.org. Anybody can make an org. Duchess, Kwamino Duchess. You know what? Let's look in the, if it's that old, let's look in the archive. And I'm not negating that. That could be one African right there. But we're going to have to see that. I'm not just going to take a word for it. Why would I do that? Am I the public, nigga? Am I the fucking public? No, not at all. Your boy got to look. Okay, we got Memoirs of Kwamino Bukai, a Pequot Methodist, and the Narratives of Colored Americans. One book is from 1851, not necessarily during the time of the slavery times. Well, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, it is. It's 1851. 1851 is slavery time. So let's take a look at that book. Memoirs of Kwamino. Now, why would Kwamino be writing a book. Was he a free African Negro who knew how to read and write? Or who was Kwamino? Is this a Negro? Let's see. Could be. Methodist. Kwamino, Henry, Harvard College, Harvard College Library. How does my research suck, nigga? Are you a fucking moron? Where else am I not supposed to look the word up? You told me what the word is and you didn't give me any information on it. I've done already in less than a minute research, kind of went through 3 to 4 different websites. And I've already done pulled up 2 books, 1 book from 1851, and I ain't even done. And this is just within a minute. And this nigga says your research sucks. Well, get your bitch ass out my motherfucking live, hoe ass bitch. 10,000 motherfucking bullshit ass subscribers. Fuck you. You probably been on this bitch forever. Block, hoe. The fuck off my motherfucking live with that bullshit. Now, I would have sat here and given this nigga a good little lesson, but don't you motherfucking sit here and tell me my motherfucking research such. You just seen me look up some shit barely. But then seconds I got to a 1851 book off the motherfucking shelf, bitch. And you gonna come in here and tell me that dumb shit? Say, mind you, I got you. I got you. Oh, yeah, you on a different page. I was like, you ain't minded before? There you go. But yeah, don't come up in this goddamn live with that dumbass shit. Be respectful. You know what I'm saying? Kwamino Bacall. Because my thing is, how many people have the name Kwamino? It could be just straight African. But here we are looking at something called the Memoir of Kwamino Bacall. Let me see if the word Africa is in here. Like, I don't even have to go fast. Like, I can go fast past the bullshit. But let me just see. Africa is in here 0 times. African is in here 0 times. So what the fuck is Kwamino? And now you got to think about it. This book is from 1851 during the time of slavery. Well, who's using the name Kwamino? Sounds Spanish, right? It sounded Spanish to me too. It sounded a little Spanish to me too. Let me see if it says it here real quick. If I can do a quick little visual scan through this document. Blah, 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 blah. Griffith, blah, blah, blah. Kwamino, blah, blah, blah. Kwamino several times, blah, blah, blah. Bacall. A young slave of about the age of a nice colored man said, Kwamino, as you would wish, fired his master's barn, blah, 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 confession. It looks like it's a young slave. But slave don't mean motherfucking African, as we know. The sheriff calls in the country, Revolutionary War. So they're talking about America to a degree. Kwamino had relinquished the hopes of again seeing his former friends when in his 18th year, a stranger arrived on a horse. So where was he from? 18th year, so the settled state of the country. Hold up. A young slave about 20 years of age, as a nice colored man said, Kwamino, as you would wish to look at, fired his master's barn and outbuildings and thus destroyed the grains of livestock. He was detected by the smoke issuing from his pocket. I'm trying to figure out how old he was. Was he 20? And then it's like, if he was 20, because think about this. If he was 20 during the time this book came out, and this book is 1851, that would have put him back to, this bitch ass nigga tell me I can't research, but that would have put him back to 1830, which wouldn't have been the importations of African slaves was banned after 1808. So this person couldn't have came over here from Africa during that time unless he just kept the name from his goddamn parents. But they ain't keep nothing African, right? But the truth of Peter, blah, 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 blah. Let me make sure I didn't miss an age here real quick where it says, like, Kwamino, the only name, Kwamino, the only name which ever properly pertained to him, was born in the vicinity of Brunswick, New Jersey. I missed this part. In the second day in 1762. So this is what they're claiming. Kwamino. So 1762, 1851 is when this book came out. He'd be in his 90s. And this is his memoir. And is he a free slave at this time? But it doesn't say, well, in the vicinity. It say he was born in the vicinity of New Brunswick, New Jersey in 1762. So it doesn't say that he came from Africa on a boat. So his parents would have had to come from Africa on the boat. On top of that, his parents would have had to name him an African name, but I thought they weren't doing that shit, right? They didn't have no remembrance of their Africanness. That's why I bought the goddamn book that we about to go through today, which is Low Country bullshit, whatever. A feed at the elders, and we about to go over that this morning. That's why I bought this book, because just because it's in a book, just like this may not be correct either. But just because that nigga put the word Kwamino, and just because they say this word Kwamino means a goddamn African, don't mean I'm just gonna accept that. I would have to see the word being used in Africa. Let me just Google the word real quick again, because I did kind of go with the first thing. Let me just see what else pops up. Duchess. Hold on, let's see what this is.
President Trump and Senator Cornyn are getting results at the border. More agents, more technology, and more miles of that big, beautiful wall. Cornyn votes with Trump 99% of the time. Call and thank Senator Cornyn for helping President Trump make America great again.
Ever wondered how an enslaved woman from West Africa...
All right, I'm not even going to go through with this, because this is just somebody who read the book and made a little slideshow, and but let me give her a second.
Could one day buy her way to freedom in colonial New England? Hold on to that thought, because today's story is about a woman whose journey defies the norms of her time. I'm Shay, a PhD candidate at Harvard, and today we're diving into the incredible life of Duchess Charity Kwamino, a name you might not know.
So this is a different Kwamino. This is the Kwamino that was listed on that enslaved.org site that I kind of touched on, whereas Kwamino Bukau or whatever that we were just reading about is a different Kwamino. But notice, we'll see what she says. But so far, ain't nobody talked about this person being African, neither one of them.
Today, you won't forget. Duchess Charity Kwamino was born in West Africa and brought to Newport, Rhode Island.
Well, she said it. Well, let's keep going.
And as an enslaved person in the mid-18th century, where she became enslaved to the Channing family. She was married to John Kwamino.
Kwamino's the last name. She was married to John Kwamino. Hold on.
To today, you won't forget. Duchess Charity Kwamino was born in West Africa and brought to Newport, Rhode Island as an enslaved person in the mid-18th century.
So her last name was Kwamino. Let's keep going. Because first of all, most, if not all, the slave manifests I saw only have about first names on them. Second of all, we'll keep on.
Where she became enslaved to the Channing family. She was married to...
If she was enslaved to the Channing family, what's up, C3? Let me look down, see if I didn't miss anybody else. She said, who is this about? I'm going to show you real fast. Just because they bring slaves over doesn't mean they stop bringing them over. Yeah, let me go ahead and block you. Well, I'm not going to block you yet. You say indigenous woman and mother crochet. You said just because they bringing slaves over does not mean they stop bringing them over. They pretty much stopped bringing them over, but they required slave ship manifest, and there's thousands of slave ship manifests that are intracontinental versus 36 slave manifests in the National Archive records that came from anywhere outside of the United States. Just 36. There's thousands of intracontinental with names and everything on them. So if they came somewhere, they would have been recorded. So just saying these things is just kind of, we can't just go by feelings and stuff like that no more. We can't just be saying shit. We got to have a manifest. You got to prove that with a manifest. You see what I'm doing? You see I'm looking at handwritten shit. I'm not really trying to stick to, I'm trying to stick to as close to primary documentation. But let me show C3 real quick, who I'm kind of diving into and who I feel like I'm going to be exposing. But we'll see if he's a liar or not. I feel like he could be. Genealogist Darius Brown. Grok used genealogist Darius Brown as an example of somebody who traced their family family member back to Senegambia, saying, yeah, somebody has traced their African ancestry back to Africa. And then I was like, okay, who is Darius Brown? Well, this is good for all of y'all, really. Darius Brown, he wrote this book, which I actually went and just bought this morning. And we're about to tear into two to three pages of it. But Darius Brown is young as hell, okay? And I'm going to tell you why I'm getting onto this. He wrote a book. He's getting all this backing, right? Even on his Instagram, on his Facebook. Where did Facebook go? On his Facebook, is it on my Facebook? He just got he didn't really have much. Darius Brown. Well, you know what? I had to actually click on it through. Sorry, y'all know them girls be throwing out the thirst traps on motherfucking, saying thing. Darius, I forgot how. Let's see, Darius Brown. No, god damn it. I forgot how I found it. But I was on his Instagram earlier, as y'all saw, and he received like these book stamps, for his book or whatever. Says that he works at the International African American Museum. Now, I'm gonna tell y'all already, I didn't like the fact that they put the word international on African American Museum. Now, I don't even like the word African American at all. But then the whole international, like, what the hell do you mean? And then when you go to it, he's a researcher there. The International American Museum is in Gullah, Geechees country, Low Country, in the Geechees area. So I was like, oh, okay, he's researching for, the same people that are pretty much kind of whatever. But look at this dude. He's a kid. And why do I care about this? Because he just put out a book, right? He just put this book out. And that's the same thing Lorenzo did with the whole Africanisms from the Gullah dialect. And this starts to show that these people will grab somebody off the goddamn high school damn near. They just fresh out of goddamn high school, get a nigga to write a motherfucking book, and this book will be the future book that people will cite. That Geechees were able to, we got plenty of people in Geechees that's able to do this. They've proven they've been able to tie their people back to Africa. She said, that's not an African. She said, he American. You can see by looking at him. He clearly in his 20s. Exactly. And the thing is, I'm gonna be on his bumper because after I do a live stream about him on my professional equipment. Not say professional. Yeah, it's professional. But after I do a live stream about that, I'm gonna tag his ass in all his social media. And social media looks very tailored. Like, not the social media of a real 20-year-old. Let me try to pull that shit back up. What did I Google for that shit? What did I Google? Real quick. Let me try to pull it back up. It might be from here. Okay. You know what? It was on the website for the book. I remember. Genealogist Darius Brown, At the Feet of the Elders. So you go to his website, and he just got it. Basically, it says find the book. But I went to the social and events, and this nigga said my research says, nigga, you better get your whole ass. So when you look at his Facebook, I would look into a nigga's life in 2 minutes, nigga. With my motherfucking research, I be done found out all kind of shit about your bitch ass. Anyways, it just doesn't look like a 20-year-old's. It's like they're trying to make it look like all of these are like professional photo shoots. And you can tell because somebody's really taking the photo. And then you got him at the radio, you know what I'm saying? There's a regular photo. He's talking about Phyllis Wheatley, and I know that story is some bullshit. I did a video on it. You'd have to check it out. Here he is somewhere prestigious, right? Likely being, paid whatever, just your normal, 20 year something year old. Yeah, here's him being a normal 20-year-old, right? And that's what I was thinking. And then I was like, okay, let's just go to his photos. I couldn't find his age on here, but I think we may have found his age on something else. But his photos were these. That was his photos here. And I said, okay, real basic, right? So then I went to the Instagram. And the Instagram pretty much has the same photos. And him talking a couple times, and him in front of his scat pack. No, I doubt it's a scat pack. And I felt like these were forced. Either that or they was like, clean up your social media, because it's like, hey, I'm a normal 20-year-old, guys. Look at me, and then I'm Mr. Darius Brown, writing, the genealogist, writing books about your history, And I just don't like the way, I don't know. Maybe I'm just feeling a certain way, Maybe I'm wrong. This is him out. I guess this is his world, So a lot of African stuff, low country Gullah. So, I don't know, He could be a normal kid. He could just be, he may not know what he's doing, but I doubt it, I don't. People get paid for all kind of shit and act like they don't know what's going on. But okay, so let me let this girl finish real quick. You said I have a Geechee grandfather, and I was told his origins are in South Carolina, and they are not African. Mm-hmm. And many Geechees have told me that, man. I can't say it's just a few. I had a post go viral on TikTok, that a Gullah Geechee post. Well, I don't like to call it Gullah, but it was me going into the truth about the Gullah word and the Geechees, and it made almost 900,000 views, or impressions, I should say. But they say views on TikTok. On Twitter. But I got a ton of comments. There were a lot of people that still stuck in their matrix, talking about they African, people know they from Africa, and calling me all kind of names. But let's see what else this lady says. You said this lady was from Africa.
Camino, a fellow enslaved man who fought in the Revolutionary War. He eventually gained his freedom, and he was determined to purchase her freedom. But tragically, he died.
Tragically, though, I was going to say earlier, too, her last name is Kwamino, and apparently she was enslaved by the Channing family. But I thought we took on our slave master's last name. These stories don't match. If we took on our slave master's last name, keep that shit continual. Every time I come up to these stories, I never see, almost hardly ever, only like a couple of circumstances where people took on their slave master's last name. And here you have a person off the slave boat with the last name Kwamino, but they didn't even have last names recorded. And even those slave ship manifests that did come over here that are in the goddamn archives, which we can pull up real quick, slave ship manifest, they do not have names on the foreign manifest. So where the fuck you getting the names? Where you match this goddamn name? Whoops, that's not it. This one right here. Where the hell you matching the names? People just be playing. So you go to the foreign, whoops. And like I was telling the lady before, so when you go to the foreign inward outward manifest, you got these years only, right? And when you click on it, we'll click on it real fast. You're only gonna get 36 images. Okay, 36 images, and half of them are the back of the goddamn manifest. There's the front, there's the back. There's the front of one that was handwritten. Here's the back. Here's another. So really, you only got like 18 manifests in this bitch, and each one of them only got like 40 to 60 slaves on these hoes. Here's the front of one, 60 Negroes. Here's the back. Okay, so we ain't got a whole lot of slave ship manifests, and as you can see, Kwamino ain't no motherfucking name, and there ain't no motherfucking names on these fucking manifests. So you can't tie your person back. You know why? Because they probably got rid of those manifests because it was probably a bunch of white folks' names from Africana or whatever, some Afrikaners or whoever that actually came over here or whatever. Because somebody recorded something. Don't tell me that people came over here with 300,000 something people. That means if they was bringing on average let's just say 150 people per boat, and that's really being overly extenuous because really it should be about 40 to 60 like these say. But I'm gonna just say they bring in 150, and you divide 333,000 divided by 150 capacity. That's at least 2,200 boats, and we ain't got not one piece of documentation for them that shows any names. Y'all got to be out your goddamn mind. So, but when you go to other ones, like let's say Beaufort, South Carolina. Now they don't have a whole lot, but let's see how many manifests. Oh, Beaufort, South Carolina only has 9. They might have been a smaller. I don't know. That port might not have been as important. So let's go to Charleston. Charleston doesn't have a lot either. I know I'm gonna find a lot on one of these. It has 42 in Charleston. When we go to Mobile has quite a few, right? And each one of these hyperlinks has something like 733 images in it, right? And these will be manifests that are, some of these actually do have names. And in many cases, let me just show you. In many cases, yeah, it will just be one name. In many cases, yes, it will just be a first name. Now, that's one side. That ain't the, what you call it. Manuel, okay? A Mexican slave. These are different ones. I'm going to go Lewis, the only person on the boat, okay? So let's see. That's Alabama. We can go through more Alabama, but if you go to Savannah has a ton. Savannah was one of the largest ports. They say that's the most people came through Savannah. Now, there's a 1790 to 1824. Actually, you know what? I hadn't seen that one. This one I hadn't seen. Because I'm thinking 1790 to 1824, importation of slavery was banned in 1808. So some of these might be during that time frame. But you know what? I think I did remember looking at these. And even though it said those years, most of these were well above the years. Let me see. This ship is coming from... transported on the whatever of New York, whereof the master, brethren, whatever, 200 bound for the port. Hold on. 228. I thought that was going to be the date. Bound for the port of New York from the port of Savannah. So this is going from New York to Savannah in the state of Georgia. To Savannah, Georgia, on this day, it looks like it's like 1810 of some sort. So this would be well within the time frame of slavery, but 1810 would be after the importation of slavery was banned, because that was banned in 1808. So actually, this would be after that. So this is why that's intercontinental. And you have names, Hannah and Phoebe. Okay, so we don't have first and last names coming over on the boat. So I'm already even more so questioning how you got the last name Quamino. Okay? You see how logic comes up from utilizing primary sources when somebody's just trying to tell you a story with no primary sources to back it up? It's like, it doesn't make sense. But okay, I'm gonna let this lady finish her little Quamino ass story.
In the war before he could do so. Left to fend for herself, Duchess refused to be defeated by her circumstances. She turned to what she did best, baking. Duchess started a catering business in Newport, Rhode Island, and her pastries quickly became the talk of the town. No to that thought, because today's story is about a woman feat for an enslaved woman during that time. But her influence didn't stop there. Duchess was also a key figure in the free Black community.
I mean, come on now. If you come, I don't know what year she said she came over here. I can't remember. But if you a slave from Africa and y'all never had no stoves, how the hell you become such an amazing ass baker? You ain't even know how to fucking bake. You don't even know the fucking ingredients over here. Nigga, you become a goddamn master baker. Bitch, y'all don't become masters of anything today, nigga. What kind of shit is they trying to pull?
contributing to the establishment of Newport's first African American church. Her life was a testament to what could be achieved
He
despite the
said I was
injustice of
saying
slavery,
it.
serving as a beacon of hope and
Say the
strength
same
for those
thing.
around her. Here's an interesting fact. After gaining her freedom, Duchess
You know, because I'm going to tell y'all like this. When you hear these people talk with such bravado in their voice about these African American like stories, that's how you know they like one of them like fucking high up Delta fucking Sigma fucking people that are paid and they're educated. They've been to school and they've probably been to African American studies, and so when they get here, they're like, the Duchess of the such and such and such and such, and it's just like when you're adding all this drama and shit to it, I don't feel you're being authentic. A lot of us, when we teach this information, you don't see us talking that way. You don't see us out here act like a goddamn preacher on Sunday teaching about Indian. Name one Indian out there that sounds like a fucking preacher. Come to think about it. Name one Indian out there that's really out there on some Martin Luther King chanting ass shit. And MLK, I think he may, I don't know, let me not go into the MLK story, but yeah, we just don't do that. And these kind of things, all these things be red flags immediate to me when I look at these people or listen to these people. When I'm reading about people, it's a little bit different because I can't feel their mannerisms that they're trying to portray. So then I'm looking at just information, what they wrote and information, but when I'm listening, it's another level. Let me let her finish this little bullshit.
the last child of William Channing Jr., was born, and he would go on to become the famous clergyman and abolitionist.
Here we go. We gotta save your white man, paired up with a African master baker. You see? It's a story of the American revolutionary spirit. Get the fuck out of here. I'm tired of these bitches. I'm tired of these motherfuckers. I don't even want to hear no more of this shit. Okay, let me get on with this. Because these people are fucking crazy. Get out of here, man. Goddamn, the famous abolitionist. Oh, or did the famous abolitionist white man concoct a fake ass African Kwamino story to kind of help prop up his I have a black person that I care for or love kind of story? I don't know. And why don't she have your last name? Y'all love him so much, you gave him last name. You didn't get this one your last name. You said, no, I love her so much, I let her keep Kwamino. Fuck out of here, man. Fuck out. Fuck out of here with these stories. Oh, man. So, yeah, here another slave ship manifest. Then I'm going to get off these manifests. But as y'all can see, first names only on these goddamn manifests. There's no Kwaminos. And I can guarantee you I'm not going to go through all 5,000 of these motherfuckers and look to see if I can see a Kwamino. But I can almost tell you I'm not going to see a Kwamino. I got Gilbert, Mary, Prince, Elroy, Rachel, Lucy, Susie, whatever. I ain't gonna get no Kwamino. But we're gonna see what Darius, because okay, let me get back onto the topic. Let me go to so I've kind of already kind of went into it, what we're talking about, right? So I'm actually gonna pull up this book that I just bought by Darius. Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to show y'all before that. No, I kind of pretty much touched on these things. Yeah, I pretty much touched on these things. Okay. I'm like, where the hell is the book? Kindle. All right. So first things first, as I always do, I sleuth through the book, right? So I open that hoe up, and what am I looking for as I scroll through this book? Words are words, right? I don't give a damn too much about your words, but I do at the same time. I want to listen to what you're saying. But I care about primary sources. So as I go through first, I'm going to sleuth to see if we have primary sources, such as this. Okay, I see something that looks handwritten and looks like it could be of a primary source. And when I went through this, it didn't say, it was talking about fortunes and Lena families on Pickaninny's land or whatever, and some inventory, but I don't think it talked about anything about Negroes. So I said, okay, or slaves or anything like that. So then I was like, all right, let's keep sleuthing. Oh, I gotta exit out. Still trying to get used to this damn Kindle. So then I kept sleuthing. We got some maps. I looked at a couple of the maps. They wasn't really that old, So I said, okay. There's another primary source looking like there. So I looked at that, and that's where I got where we're at today. And we're going to read this page prior to it, this page, and this page. And the reason why we're going to read this page is because if you let them, they will pull the wool over your eyes in some cases and act like they got, like, this is the names that they saw written and this is the African equivalent. And when I looked at this, I was like, well, where did you get all of these names? They said it came from the Blake family. I don't know if they were on other documents and they're not showing those documents, but they're going to show where Muso is on this document. And they also put Kwamino. But notice they spelled Kwamino over here Kwamena. They was like, well, that's the same thing as Kwamina. So it's not even the same thing in the African language. It's not even spelled the same. And we're known a lot for using Q's. We got Quavio, Quavo, Marquez, Quantavious, we Chatapachique. Now, even if you think about even like our indigenous words, there was a lot of Q-like sounding things in our like, if I just go to I'm trying to think of a map. The De Soto map might be one. Let me see. Hernando De Soto map. Let's see. It might have some nations listed with. Yeah, you got Quapana, right? You got Quagate, Quaquiz. Like, how you just gonna say Quim? How you just gonna associate it and it's not even spelled with a fucking Q in Africa? See, I'm tearing this bitch apart already, nigga. Tearing this whole apart all the fuck ready. Qualong, right? And I ain't even do this earlier. This is real time tearing a nigga ass up. There's Capachique. We know TB. You know what I'm saying? He's a Capachique, actually. This is Capachique. Yeah, Capachique. Kofakwi. Katafachique. Okay, a lot of Q sounding like shit. Waquila, Tasky. Okay, so you miss all of these, Mr. Darius Brown and everybody else, when they want to tell me Kwamino is African. And on top, I shouldn't have blocked that nigga, but he probably wouldn't have stayed here long enough to get his ass chewed up. They'll drop after a little bit. But how the hell you gonna sit here and say Kwamino means this African Kwamina and spell it completely different? Y'all don't even use the Q. What you proving to me is you don't even use the QUI and the QU equivalent to what we use over here. Y'all use KW, Qua, which I guess you can say in a sense somewhat is pronounced the same. Somewhat, but we have indigenous cultures here completely utilizing the QU in the spelling and the pronunciation. So even if they wanted to call her Kwamino, or the niggas Kwamino, and they was over here and they thought it was African, why wouldn't they spell it the other way? Are you just gonna tell me that they the Europeans just chose to use the QU for it. They didn't. It would have been easier for them to do KW. What's another way? A C something. It could have been. It's just as easy to use any other thing, but they use QU. And Africa has zero history of using QUs. On top of that, white Europeans have zero history of using the QU a lot. A lot of the words, a lot of their people, you don't think of any white person that starts with their name, or first name or last name, or any culture has a Q in it. LaQuisha, no. I'm trying to think of something white. You got Molly, you got Rachel, you got and even those might not even be theirs. You know what I'm saying? They really come from Germany. You know what I'm saying? So their names be like Olga. That's not a Q. What's some indigenous? Not some indigenous. Oh my God. What's some European white names out there that were from over there? Slovenia. I don't know. I'm just saying stupid shit now. But my bad. I'm stuffing one up, rolling one up again so I can get to this. But we're about to read these 2 pages. So why do I want to read these 2 pages? Because I want to know, where did you get these names? I want to know the explanation for the names. I also want to see how they came up with the fact that Musa was in this document right here. So we're gonna read that real fast. We're gonna start right here, give them see if we can get a little context. Okay, so actually, let me show y'all this. Although the Austin and Lawrence account book only covered a span of 8 years, it was okay. So I want to read a little bit further back, but let me show y'all the Austin and people. Nigga told me I can't research. Let me get that off my brain, man. I done found a whole motherfucking Henry Lawrence account book, nigga, and that took a minute to find, to be honest with you. I had to go through at least 2 pages of Google results. Like, that's hard, but you know, at least 2 pages of Google results before I found the right link that actually took me to the primary source document, you know, to the actual Henry Lawrence book. And then here we are, because I was looking through the Henry Lawrence book because he said the slave Musa was listed in the Henry Lawrence account book. And I was like, okay, who's the Henry Lawrence account book? Then I found that Henry Lawrence was like some well-known white dude, whatever. And so then I was able to find this account book. And this is on the EDU website and everything. But yeah, and this book comes from 1724 to 1792. But most of these, I take ChatGPT and I screenshot it and I let it do the transcribing. But I still look at it too and get closer because it can miss some stuff and it won't tell you. But most of these are like bill of sales for like normal goods, you know, all throughout a lot of this book, to be honest with you. There are some names, Henry Todd, Sloop Henry, whatever. Then it tells you like 30 something for the amount or whatever and certain things, and 20 barrels of something and 20 barrels of this and whatever the case may be. But this is the Henry Lawrence account book that he cites. So I was like, okay, because I watched a video about him. So I just saw something say Gambia. Hold on. Okay, from the Gambia once again. Okay, so we're gonna start. Where'd that document? 1, 2. We're gonna start from right here. Where he talks about genetic studies, okay? Genetic studies have shown that although Gullah African Americans, come on now. I don't even know if y'all know why I'm annoyed right now. Do y'all not understand what this is doing right here, this one phrase? God damn it. Do y'all not understand what this one phrase is doing? Like, I'm literally almost goosebumps, like a slight tear in my eye pissed the fuck off right now. It's literally erasing Geechees. You have combined two phrases, Gullah Geechee and African American, but you decided to drop the Geechee part. The people who live by the fucking Ogeechee River for 10,000 years. I'm about to be on this bitch ass nigga's ass so hard with videos and content because I said this is where this was leading to. I hadn't seen anything that like pushed it in my head, but it's first the combining. I'm making a whole documentary. It's first the combining of the word Gullah with Geechee, and then now the removal of Geechee. Oh my God, dude. That pisses me off. Y'all don't even understand how mad I am. I don't even know if I want to read no more. I want to go beat this nigga's ass right now. I really want to go with this nigga's ass. Because, like I said, he done wrote it in the book. It's getting awards. It's blah, blah, blah. Eventually, people are going to be like, no, I'm Gullah. Oh, you're African. Gullah means you came from Angola. Said, get him. Your grandfather is Geechee. I'm going to be doing this for your grandfather, Yolanda. Said, TikTok owners are the pilgrims that play with our nationality. I don't know who the TikTok owners is, to be honest with you. But I believe you on it. But yeah, that's let me screenshot that. I'm doing a video. I gotta do a video on that this morning. A little 10-minute video on that this morning. Cause that is crazy work. Crazy work. And use a young ass nigga to do it. Young 22, 3-year-old. Call him a genealogist. Give him a motherfucking. I didn't even have to go that far back in this page. That was the universe sending me back to that page. Just like right now. Look, man. Oh man, I was just thinking about let me just tie this nigga, see how this nigga tied his family back to goddamn Africa with this Musa bullshit. And now I see the goddamn erasure. Now you on my radar. You gonna have to block my bitch ass. He gonna have to block me, nigga, here pretty soon, cause I'm a tag his whole ass and some shit, and I'm gonna be posting on his shit. They just gonna block me. But okay, let's read further. That's crazy. Gullah African Americans have generally shown a higher percentage of ancestry from the Upper Guinea region. Y'all not about to do this. Y'all not about to take away the Geechees, dude. Y'all not about to do this, dude. Okay. They and other African, and I got the whole paper trail on, and I like right now I can when I do that 10-minute video later after this live stream, y'all gonna see. I'm gonna just hit with super facts, straight source after source. It's probably gonna be 30, 40 sources in that bitch. All right. Okay. I'm telling you, I'm in my head. I can't even read. Okay. From the Guinea region, they and other African Americans from the southeast still have elevated in ancestry from Nigeria. The higher Nigerian ancestry has been attributed to the large population of Africans from the region that were traded to the Caribbean islands and later arrived in South Carolina during the intercolonial slave trade. Now you see what they trying to do there? I don't like that either. Daniel Blake apparently was one of those planters. I don't like this either because what they're trying to say is, hey, the African came in, and so there's no slave ship manifest because he hit the Caribbean port. But when he hit South Carolina, there should be a manifest for him, even though there's no manifest. He didn't produce one during this motherfucking and during this book, there ain't no slave ship manifest in this book. So But even that, it still gives them it's like, hey, there's the intercolonial trade. They came there and then they moved up there. But then you came during the time where the slave trade was easily available to just go straight to the United States. So you didn't have to go intercolonial to go intercontinental, hit the Caribbeans to go to the mainland. And I think that's that bullshit. I think what they're trying to do there is they know now that we know that only so many people hit the actual United States. So they're trying to say, well, hey, even though only that many ships actually landed there, we got more ships that came to the Caribbean, and some of those brought even those. They try to say they used it as a hub. They would go there, stop, and then go up. It's some bullshit. I just be picking all this little shit apart because they say a lot of shit, with no backing. But it says Daniel Blake, apparently one of the planters who accepted these beliefs about certain Africans, as he was a routine customer of Austin and Lawrence. That was that Lawrence account book that I just showed you. He was a routine customer of Austin and Lawrence. And I did see Daniel Blake's name in that book. I don't think I took a screenshot of it. Or did I? No, I don't think I took a screenshot of it. I don't think I was really caring as much about it when I read it, when I saw it. But I saw the name in there. He was a customer, but he was just buying normal goods. But the book is 500 something pages, so I really have to go through the whole thing to fully make that claim. But I did see his name in the book. And that's the thing about these people. They do some partial truths, but then they soft shoe in the bullshit propaganda. For the most part, in African American, finding detailed records about the slave trade concerning their ancestors is more of an anomaly than the norm. Yeah, it is, because there's not hardly any records. He says, however, Austin and Lawrence account book survives to this present day and covers the firm's transaction from April of 1750 to December of 1758. In the account book, Daniel Blake, 1731 to 1780, is recorded several times as the sales when Africans were sold to the highest bidder. And I'm gonna be finding that. Well, you know what? No, I'm gonna say it like this. Well, we'll see. We'll see if that's what's supposed to be this page. 'Cause I'm going to say he ain't produced the page, because you got the ability to put the motherfucking screenshots in this bitch. So that might be the page that we're talking about today. Does that look like a sale of African slaves? Let me just look at it. It could be. It says board. No. Board something plantation. This just says the something plantation. And it says say 69 Negroes or something. Oh, my bad. Y'all can't see. It says the board new something plantation, right? And then it says something 69 Negroes. Let me see what it says on the Chat GPT. Baird House Plantation, list of 69 Negroes. So is it supposed to say Blake House? Maybe it's Blake House Plantation? And Chat GPT got it wrong. No, that don't look like no Blake. I don't look like no damn Blake either. So we're gonna see what this document is, because this is the only primary source that he shows while talking about this shit that he's talking about. So that's why I was like, I gotta read it. I gotta read the book. And I just gave this bitch ass nigga $9. That's why I'm about to be on your ass too, nigga. I'm about to get my $9 worth of ass whooping in this motherfucker. All right, let me keep going. Okay, the Oscar Lawyer's account book, is recorded several times that the sale of African slaves was sold to the highest bidder. His first appearance in the account book occurs in August 13, 1754, when I wish you would have put what page it was on, because I got the book now. When he purchased 3 men from the brigantine Orel that had arrived from Gambia. Okay. I know how to look for that boat on slavevoyages.org. We can look for that later. But let me keep going. I'll be picking shit apart. A month later, another vessel arrived in Charlestown and another large group of captives on board. This time, the Snow Africa, commanded by William Mason. My bad, y'all. My phone just went off. Okay, sorry. All right. Captain Snow Africa, commanded by William Mason, brought these captives from Sierra Leone. The captives, and see, they're trying to tie in Sierra Leone now, and they didn't tie in Sierra Leone before in the other African, the Geechees books, or I'll call them Gullah books because they bullshit books. I won't give them the glory of the word Geechees, but they started trying to tie in. I'm gonna screenshot that too. They started trying to tie in that Sierra Leone shit later, and there's a video about it too. But these people were said to come from Angola. That's why they call them Gullahs, Gullahs in the newspapers and other things. But they tried to tie in the Sierra Leone shit later because they needed to compare people who spoke English with people who spoke English. And people in Angola at the time mostly spoke Portuguese because the Portuguese had settled there in the 1500s. So now they're trying to tie in the Sierra Leone with somebody. You see they're in the same page. They've gotten rid of Geechees and tied in Sierra Leone. But it says the captives on board were transferred to Sullivan's Island, where they were quarantined in a pest house and visited by a doctor while they went through that quarantine process. Advertisements were put up throughout the country to attract potential buyers. Like, how do you know they went through a quarantine process and all this shit? What primary document resource? Because the account book is just, even if the account book of Henry Lawrence is going to show anything, the motherfucking account book ain't giving you a story breakdown, nigga, of what the motherfuck happened. It's a goddamn sales book, an account book, like, you know, an accountant. So what's all this, nigga? Yeah, they stopped there, you know, they were quarantined, and, you know, the master would actually put them in the lab, blah, blah, blah. What the fuck? That's a bunch of fluff. Where did you get that information? See, this is why I pick shit apart, because don't just talk to me. Show me what the fuck you talking about. Where are you reading this from? Anyways, captains of the board were transferred to Sullivan's Island, where they would be quarantined in a pest house and visited by the doctor. While they went through the quarantine process, advertisements were put up throughout the country to attract potential buyers. By the time the sale was take place on the 20th of September, like he's acting like he going by the day. Like, if you going by the daily account, nigga, where the hell did you get this information? So after the motherfucking Henry Lawrence motherfucking bought the slave, after the Daniel Blake bought the slave, this nigga just started journaling his life. Well, I bought a slave last night, and then I decided to take him up to the pest house and, you know, get him quarantined. And next thing you know, fuck out of here, man. Fuck out of here. Where are you getting this information? Anyway, let's say 114 people were ready to be sold in the Carolina market. Out of 114 people who were sold that day, Daniel Blake purchased the greatest number of them at one time. The group consisted of 7 men, 4 women, 2 boys, and 2 girls, for a total of 4,479 pounds. Hold on, sterling. Okay, never mind. 1106 was paid up front, and 333.73 was due in the following January. I want to know what page that is. Because, and it says 96. I don't want to lose my page. Let me bookmark this before I lose my page. I want to click this little 96 hyperlink. It says Austin and Lawrence account book. Okay. 1750. I got the book, general collection, manuscript, library, Yale, whatever. And it's got a collection 5650. Is that saying it's on page 5650? Can I just click it directly? No. Can I copy it? No. But I do have the book 56 and 50. Is that the pages? Let's go to the Lawrence and Account book, page 56 and 50. $56. I said, what is that? 56? I said 56 and 50. It's 56 and 60. Possibly. That's what that means. So let's first see if we see Daniel Blake. What else? Yeah. No. No. Uh, yeah. Yeah, she probably using that set. All right. All right. I'm on live. Let me hit you back. Bet. All right. Daniel Blake. Is this nigga making all kind of slave purchases on page 56 or 60? Why is it frozen on a nigga? Let me go back and go forward. I can't zoom in. I can't move around this bitch. I was just moving around this bitch. I don't know, man. This thing is bullshitting right now. Okay. Daniel Blake. Why can't I move around? That's annoying as hell. Okay. Let me just get close. William Chauvin Blazer. I don't see a Blake on this page yet. I don't see a Blake on this page as the purchaser. Let me go to page 60. See, we gonna test what you say over here. You put it in a goddamn book. Damn it! Why can't I? Okay. The Warburn Plantation, the James something, to General, whatever, Mercury, whatever, Schooner, Bronson, whatever, General, whatever, Wilson, Lawrence. I'm trying to tell. Look, they gonna have to do a little bit better than what. I mean, they could have just, in my opinion too, you could have just took a screenshot and put it in here in the book just like you did the other shit. But maybe I'm not on the right thing. You know what? I'm trying to copy that, but I can copy it from a photo. I hate that. I didn't want to have to type that shit in. Let me just go to the book on Yale, digital collections. Okay. Let's see if this is the same book that I got over there. It look a little bit different. Let's go to page 56. So maybe the one I got is a little bit different. Let me just see what's on one of these pages real quick. Let's just kind of analyze what we see real fast. Account, cash, Thomas, bushels. So that's 30 bushels. Those are goods that's the total number of bushels. So let me just go to their little page. 56. I can type it in. 56. All right, page 56. And we're looking for Blake. Owner of the... See, this is why I be taking a screenshot and having ChatGPT do it, but let me see. Where's the Blake at? Let me just make sure we are looking for the right thing. It says that, let me go back to the book real quick. It says Daniel Blake purchased. Okay, Daniel Blake. That's the name I should be looking for. Purchased the greatest number of them. Okay. Daniel Blake. Where are you at? Samuel Wilborn. James Blakely. William McBride. I'm not seeing no motherfucking Daniel Blake on this bitch. Nor any kind of sale of slaves that's jumping out to me. Terms of payments. Men, women, boys, girls. Okay. Purchasers. Men, women, boys, girls. Terms of payments. Amount. It's from Gambia. Okay. Says something coming from a Gambia. Now this is not a slave ship manifest, but this, I guess, I'd accept this if it was, but I'm not seeing his name though. I don't see the Blake dude. I'm gonna go to the other page. Maybe this is the start. Let's go to page 60. But even if we see it, I'm wondering if the names are on it. So it's not the fact that I'm not going to see... I'm pretty kind of intrigued about this book. I'm definitely going to keep it and look through this whole. But we're looking for a Blake. Purchasers, men, women, boys, girls, terms of payments. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be looking through this in a month, in a year, in January. Okay. 2, 5, 6. So think about this. Just based off of what I'm seeing, how do you know these other than they say these people come from Africa, but how do you know your person is tied to this if there's no names? But I guess if you tied to a plantation and you see this person to a plantation. But we're gonna see how he says he does it. But first of all, I'm still looking for Blake. I'm pretty intrigued by this book. Do I believe it? I don't know. Do I believe it? I don't know. Man, I'm not seeing the word Blake anywhere on this bitch. And he said he purchased a lot of the other slaves, but everybody on here is kind of just broken down, right? Everybody just kind of purchasing them. A few people, I guess. Right, purchasers, men, women, terms of payments. I'm gonna that might say slave from Africa. Let me screenshot and we're gonna see what ChatGPT transcribes on this page real quick. See, there's real time shit. We're gonna go to ChatGPT and transcribe that. Let's see what it get. See what we get. It shouldn't take it too long. Let me see what y'all been saying. Sorry I'm late. What are we looking at? What's up, notary lady? I will show you. I'll kind of give you what up, CR the Great? Give you a little background history in a second, in a minute. My mind loves to go beyond the surface, right? I feel you on that, Melanin Empress. It's like I can't hardly feel. I can finish reading books, but it's hard because you keep thinking about everything they're saying to you. I love the fact check too. Real talk. Gotta read between the lines. Hell yeah, Flim. Yep. Appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate y'all coming up in here. So we got results. It says ledger entry, Colonel and John Thompson interest, stamps in office, Jamaica Cavalry. Huh. I feel that's at the top. John Thomas. No, I do see the word Africa clearly up there. Ledger, Colonel and Thomas interest, Temps and Company. Charges. I don't think you did that correctly, ChatGPT. Now come on now. You should be better than me at being able to read this shit. And sometimes it does really good. But I'm gonna get back to the story. But either way, I don't see the dude Blake on here, and this is their source, and I don't see one person purchasing the lot of the slaves. We'll go back real quick. On this page, people are purchasing slaves regularly, and on page 56, unless this ain't page 56, this is image 56 and not page 56. Is there a page number? Okay, let's see. Is this really 60? No, this is 60. It looks like. Let me make sure the next one is 59. Okay. I was on the wrong page. So let me stop. Okay. There we go. Daniel Blake. So their account of Daniel Blake is correct. 7422. Swoop in January. They got paying in payments. And the payment amount. Okay. So I'll give them that there's a man on a document saying that the owners are coming from Negro slaves received from the Snow, Africa. So it says people coming in from Africa. Now we're going to see how he says he ties his people to this person. But this is pretty interesting. You don't get any names, and again, this could be a fabrication of where these people came from, because as we do know, there's lots of proof that they was sending Indians around, and as they hit certain areas, they can call them anything. You know what I'm saying? They can call you African all day. You can throw it up there and say, yeah, we came from Africa, but did you really come from Africa? And what kind of boat was this? Let me also see, what kind of boat was this? What kind of boat was this? Account of net process Negro slaves received the Snow, Africa. William Mason, commander from something on received on Roberts. I don't know. I'm going to do a little bit more digging. I want to go through the book a little bit more. But I'm going to definitely do a little bit more digging on this document. Permit. I'm going to definitely do a little bit more digging on this document. Because Right now, my bad, I'm looking at surnames. Eberson, Tucker, Aikens, Singleton. All right, let's go back to the book real quick. The Carolina preference for Senegambians and people from Sierra Leone was demonstrated by the actions of Mr. Blake. However, the Africans who were ripped away from their families back home, and let me just say this real quick. This could be, and it may not be, you know. It's just like motherfucking Alex Haley and Roots. Alex Haley and Roots had documents, that looked like primary sources. Even had newspaper clippings, and one of them talked about. One of them might have. It didn't say Kunta Kinte on that bitch. I don't think, or it might have, I'd have to remember. But on the Kunta Kinte website, let me just go to it real quick. Kunta Kinte, Kunta Kinte. But also, man, that's just like no different than them creating propaganda long ago, and then today when we go to look back on it, we think it's truth because it's so long ago of a document. But it could have always been propaganda. So when you go here, where did I go? Let's see. The memorial, I think it was about, where is it? The foundation, the memorial, the inspiration. They kind of changed this website up since I've been on it. The memorial, the inspiration. Oh, yeah, like stuff like that. See, they found like they had this newspaper clip, and they was like, this is the slave advertisement in Maryland Gazette, and he was like, this is basically the slave advertisement that connected this Kunta Kinte. It says, I think right here. Look, we'll see. Right, according to research conducted, and before I say this, reminder, he was sued and he lost, and he admitted he lied about this shit, right? So, and I could throw this for those who don't know. We'll just do Roots plagiarism. Alex Haley was subject to a major plagiarism lawsuit by Harold Callahan, who alleged they copied the passages. And you have the New York Times, Roots plagiarism suit settled. Alex Haley, Roots deception. Whatever, right? So, remind you, that's what they do. So, but when you go to read this, if you was to look at this, it was like, hey, according to research conducted by Alex Haley, Kunta Kinte was an African from the Gambian town, so they're using the same place, of Jurufi, Jufuri, or whatever the fuck. The family history shows he was sold into slavery in a town called Annapolis, but he lied. So this is why I'm not just believing old boy on face value, even with a source, because they will produce a source. That's how conniving they are. That's why I'm just like, look, these people, you have to plan that really good. He already knew going into this book, writing it, right? He was lying. So he looked for some kind of sources to use. That's what I'm getting at. It's more, people want to be like, you think a nigga just lied in a book? He just wrote some lies and shit. Why would he do that? Nigga, yes, not only would they do that, they will find sources and fake the source. Okay? Fake ass bitch. I'll be going off. But okay. Alex Haley's research identified a slave ship. Look, he found a slave ship, the Lord Legionnaire. So just like old boy, he found a slave ship. Now, how am I going to be able to tell if this guy's telling the truth on this book versus Alex Haley? Well, I'm just going to have to do some diving and see what he says. But obviously, I can't accept it just on face value like this nigga did. And just because it's handwritten and this one's printed, don't make a difference. I need to see your family document saying Kwamino. I don't even think it's Kwamino. I think this is Musa. That Musa, who you let keep the name Musa, named his child Blake or Samuel or something instead of Quinte. I don't know. I don't know no other African names. Like, why wouldn't he name them Musa Jr.? But anyways, you just erased your own African ancestry by choice, nigga. Come on now. Anyway, Haley's research identified a slave ship, whatever. It arrived in Annapolis, Maryland. They got dates. They got ships, right? It's told you it was 98 survivors on that bitch. Haley believed that these survivors was a 16-year-old. He believed one of these survivors was a 17-year-old Kunta Kinte, who came over here at 17 years old and somehow didn't know how to talk anymore. Somehow forgot the blue. I don't know how the hell they talk. Are these people insane? That's an insane age to come over and not be able to speak your language. Even All the way into your old years, you should still be speaking that language. When you have children, you should still be speaking that language to them. Which we know this is a fake story. So anyway, the Africans were sold into slavery on October 7th. Look, they got a date the nigga was sold into slavery with the lies, right? And they found the article to back that up. That's to back up the lie. Kente would have been purchased at the ship and blah, 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 blah. So we ain't going to keep going. There's the liar right there. We need you to look African. Hand me a drum. Hand me a Congo. Does this do it for you? Bitch ass nigga. These people are fucking crazy, dude. This is crazy. This is hilarious. And he anyway, so let's get back to the book. I can't even get through the book. The Carolina preference for the Senegambians and people that came from Sierra Leone was demonstrated by the actions of Mr. Blake. However, the Africans who were ripped away from their families back home had a different opinion about Blake's preference. In fact, 2 months later, some of the newly arrived Africans he purchased ran away from one of the plantations near Dorchester on the Ashley River. Where did they run to? Fresh to a new land off the boat. Where the hell you gonna go? Where the hell you know where to go? You didn't get caught. You should have easily got caught. You don't know the land. Okay, let me keep going. In fact, 2 months. Okay, blah 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 blah. The group of 6 new Negroes. Okay, so and settled in plantation near Dorchester on Ashley River. The group of 6 new Negroes, as described in the South Carolina Gazette, consisted of 2 stouted men. I'm gonna be clicking on that motherfucking source here in a second. Consisted of 2 stout men, 3 wenches, as they were called, and a boy. One of them men was described as having a yellowish complexion. From Africa? From Africa. You had a yellowish complexion nigga that wasn't mixed with an Arab. Okay. He offered to give a reward for both the men and the women to the person who brought them back to him. Run away from the subscriber plantation near the Dorchester about 3 weeks ago. 6 new Negroes, vis-a-vis 2 stout fellows, 3 wenches, and 1 boy. Let's look at the actual source. Now, they didn't put a link to it, but let's see if I can. It just says Runaway, though. I was about to say, let me see if I can find it. But you see what I'm about to say? It says Runaway. The South Carolina Gazette, South Charleston, South Carolina, 1732 to 1755. Do you know how many goddamn runaway motherfucking articles are in between 1732 and 1775? It's just like, hey, pick one, nigga. Runaway. What? How come you didn't link to the actual motherfucking shit like you did there? See, that's some bullshit. All right, that's some bullshit on top of that. How much they paid him? You know they paid him some money. Y'all know they paid this little nigga some money. That don't even make no sense. And then they just put down what it said instead of it being, because this document is the same kind of document they're claiming like what Alex Haley had, but something that looks like this. But this is a just imported document. Theirs would be like a runaway. I'll show you. Like I got plenty of them. And runaway doesn't mean slave. I did a video about that as well. Runaway. You could just be a free person on a contract job who ran away from your job. Shit looks like this. A free person, and this is one of them. A free person. Oscar Dunn was a free person who was contracted to do work as an apprentice for Mr. William and Patterson. And when he left he got into an argument with Mr. Wilson, and he left it and said basically just quit. And this nigga put out a reward looking for him. Said that nigga ran away. But he's free. He's a free man on the free registers. He's been free since he was a little kid. So how could you be a runaway if you was free? It's because you ran away from your job. You ran away from your contract. So you ran away from the job, basically. But it doesn't say he was a slave because he wasn't a slave. So just saying to type in the whole thing, runaway. Boy, I'm gonna have a long video to make about this nigga. Doesn't mean you a slave. So they should have put a better, they should have put a source. But it says, despite the risk of buying Africans, because they were more prone to run away. What else was they going to buy? Europeans, of course. Indians, of course. Blake continued to buy more of them over the next few years for his Ashley and Combahee River plantation. Combahee is likely an Indian word. In December of 1756, he and his brother-in-law, Ralph Izard, purchased 8 more Africans. And it says, from the Gambia, 6 men and 2 women. And lastly, in December of 1758, 2 men and 3 women he purchased from the Snow Phoebe that came from the Gambia once again. Although the Austin and Lawrence, now let's see, Austin and Lawrence account book. But again, when we go to that book, page 122 and 169, where are you getting the? I'm trying to figure out, because we're going to be leading up to this page where he has names. Where are you getting these names from? And we'll see. I'm gonna go to this little page 122 and 169 in that book real quick. See if I see any names. What I said was 122, 169. And I know now to look at the top, 122, but this at least will get me close. Page 123, 122, page 122. And we don't see names. Again, it's just, and I'm just going to assume that for the rest of them. You don't see names, you just see people coming in, they're telling you they all came from Africa, and they put some tick marks. So it's that easy to erase you as an Indian, to be honest with you. If these people are Indians, and they ship them from one place to the next, all you have to do is put this at the top, nothing's official, put tick marks where people were bought, and at that point you're an African. You don't need no other proof. You don't need no names either. You don't need shit. You just gotta put it on the page. But let's keep going. I'm not gonna go to the second page. I know it's gonna be the same. Although the Austin and Lawrence account book only covered a span of 8 years, it was helpful to see the buying habits of Blake. It also confirms what my great-grandmother said, as she admitted to having ancestors who were from Sierra Leone. You think this nigga really talked to his great-grandmother? I remember my slaves came from Sierra Leone. If this nigga's in his 20s, his great-grandmother, like my grandma was born, and his great grandmother would be like my grandma's year. And my grandma, she can remember some stuff. She can remember her mom. She can remember her grandma. But even those two wouldn't put it back into the Africa times. I'm going to show you real quick how far you need to go to get back to the years of an African based on just my tree. How many generations do you need to go back to be back before 1808, before the importation of slaves? That's because anybody will claim anything. His great-grandma. So that's me, my mom, my grandma, right? Great-grandma, 1913. Great-great-grandma, I'm barely clipping the 1800s. I'm going to go through this line because I know this line goes pretty far back. Great-great-grandma, grandma, great-grandma, great-great, 2 times great, 1883, 3 times great, born 1862, you need to go back a good 4 times great before you give to somebody in 1827. And I'm sorry, no, that's not importation of slavery ban. That's slavery times. I'm sorry. So 4 times great, 5 times great. Where my Indians are at. Oh, that's kind of funny. Isn't that a coincidental time frame? Okay. Isn't that a coincidental time frame? Somebody's arguing back and forth. Nikki going off on somebody on my motherfucking Twitter. So yeah, that's a funny time frame, you know. Once you get back there, that's when you will start to know whether or not you have an African. So you mean to tell me this young nigga's my grandma would be about his great grandma. But even if I gave him that, you mean to tell me she remembers her? Well, that's her mom's, grandma's, great grandma's, great great grandma from a boat from Africa, but they can't remember no language or no customs or nothing else. Because to me, that would be a strong ass long time. Because yeah, we can do that, but we had people. I mean, these people were literally documented as Indians. She was documented as an Indian. So I don't even have to reach back to knowing. My grandma didn't have to know Homa Hota. My grandma just had to know that Sylvia was a goddamn Indian documented. And likely, I think Minnie Mitchell. She was on the Dawes Rolls. Minnie Mitchell was on the Dawes Rolls. Her actual name, because she was born 1883. She was born prior to the Dawes Rolls. She was on there with her parents. So my grandma just had to know her fucking grandma. That's it. Okay? If you want to tie back your Indians, your grandma just had to know damn near what her grandma was. Now this nigga's trying to say his grandma knew her 5 or 6 time great grandma coming over from a boat. That is a lie. The Love family is indigenous family. Definitely is. Definitely is. Is that Edith Adams? I don't know. Might have been if you saw it. I'm like, I don't see that. But yeah, this is people in my tree. You know, I'm sure Edith Ada Williams. Hold on, what you saying? Is that Edith Ada Williams? I better plug my shit in. Either I'm overlooking it or I'm not seeing. I see. I'm damn sure overlooking it. Yeah. And on this line, I still got to check this out because it lists this and then tenant slave owner. But tenant is also listed under. And so I really got to check those papers and also check the slave owner thing because one of my slave owners is black. Paul Tillman Willis is a black slave owner. And they had his people listed there. Where's the tenant? I seen tenant again under one of my folks. Right here. Tenant slave owner, Renda Neal. And I'm still doing some research on that. Because I don't know. I'm still doing some research on this. But I know I didn't see no African pages and shit like that. No bills of sale or whatever. If anything, a lot of times when I look at it, they might have like a slave population schedule document, and that typically will just have, it won't have names on it. It'll just have tick marks. See, like right there. That's from the 1830 census. So this would have people listed as slaves and free white persons. Things of that nature. But also I need to double check this because it's been a minute since I've been on this tenant shit. I'm trying to also remember if this person was if I found out if this person was black or white. James Tennant of the tenant deed, an account for executive, an account received. I think this is supposed to be like his slaves, supposedly. Yeah. I do kind of remember this a little bit. And they have names on here. Again, at least this one has names, right? That's one thing. It's like, at least if you're going to tie a document, find a name. Now, so far, we've been reading Old Boy's book. He ain't showed us in the Lawrence and whatever account book, we ain't seen a name be tied yet, or in any of the what you call this that he put up also. So, but also your name here doesn't mean that you're African, and they also don't look like no African names because they're gonna claim, because literally over there they're claiming in the book, they're claiming that these people's names are Africans' names. He says, see if it says Alabama. I keep getting Edith, William, and Charlie Adams. Yeah, and I'm gonna take a look at it. Let me get my damn charger before this thing go off on me. But yeah, so like these people are trying to claim that, and it's funny. They should just be claiming all of these people's names are African and these names were switched because Europeans named them European names. And that was a running thing that they would say for a while too. But now it's like they trying to be a little slicker. They trying to find them some names that sound or look like they could be African and try to tie them. But we're going to see. But see, these names are pretty legible. And these could be Indians. These could be anybody. But let me go back. You said tenant. I should have been looking for those people, but these people from Texas and Mississippi, Virginia, Montgomery, Tennessee, if that's true. Not Alabama, and even her husband, Texas. Alabama for the Neals, for Egbert Neal, possibly born in Alabama. Lawson Neal, Virginia, possibly. My bad, my phone's going off. So, anyways, yeah, your granddad is Joe Neal. Say, hey, what's up, Nick? I just seen you arguing with somebody on the Twitter. Joe Neal Adams. Yeah, and you know, they go into my papa's line, my papa's mom line, wife's line, the Prince side. So she would have been a Hill and a Neal. But there's also a Neal there too. Rosalie Neal right there. That's I need to look a little bit more into that. No wonder you had that Neal. No, wait a minute. Maybe no, that's just one Neal. I'm tripping. All right, let me get back onto this. But like, it says it woke up on one. I don't know, baby. I be like that all the time too, man. Especially with them damn trolls. I be blocking them a lot more than I used to, because them motherfuckers be taking up my day, and it's really not. If they only come back with like one or two responses, sometimes I'll go back and forth because that's not too bad, and I'll do it maybe 10, 20 times sometimes as long as they just respond to once. But that be these dudes, some of these people, they'll respond. I'll look at my damn comments. And it'd be the same troll, just at me, not at other people. And he be on reply like 8 times to something. Look at this and blah, blah, blah. And you just do this and that. And I'll be like, man, y'all, these motherfucking trolls, dude. But I do like to go, it's a dichotomy, or not a dichotomy. It's a catch-22 because, to be honest, when I do go at the trolls, I end up finding new things and making new content. So it's like I shouldn't really block the trolls, because The fact that it makes me go, it sometimes forces me to go look up extra shit and look even further into some shit. And I'll be like, oh, look, bitch. See, you was even more so wrong. And I got some new content. You know. So really it is a catch-22. I just can't stand the ones that just, God damn, they'll just, you come back and they just done plastered your whole shit. And it's like every time they do, I'll be like, dude, I'm not about to. And then I'll still read. I'll sit there and say, I ain't finna read through this. 2 minutes later, I'm reading through them all. And responding too, like a motherfucker. That's why I was like, I gotta stop. The only way that's gonna stop is I'll block these niggas, man. Alright, we're gonna get back to this book. So I don't blame you at all, because them motherfuckers have pissed me off all the time. And you know what? I also, maybe, you know what? I'm going to start muting them. That's what I'm going to start doing. Because I also don't want to block, because sometimes they be sharing the video too. And it's like, why are you sharing the video even though you talking shit when you quote it? But it helps the views go up and share. So it's almost like, you know what? Maybe I'll leave these dumbass niggas unblocked. Give me some of those algorithm credits, nigga. My bad, y'all rolling me up. Another little small one. Gassing up for the live stream. So, we're about to get to. I just looked up. We're about to get to the Musa claim. Okay, we're about to get to that. In fact, I can read it right here. Well, hold on. No, I'm looking down at the gas real quick, you know. Don't take me but a second. All right. Because I'm like, where'd you get the Musa from? He's got a piece of paper with Musa on it. Does that come from the Lauren's account book, or does that come from something else? Let's see. How does that tie to Lauren's an account from Senegambia? Because there was no names in there. Okay, so purchased from the Ashley Comanche River. Okay, in 1780, Daniel Blake made his will. Okay, a will, and bequeathed much of his estate to his wife Elizabeth Isaac Blake and to his nephews, and he and his wife had no children. However, the residue of his real and personal estate, which included the Comanche River lands, went to his brother William Blake. I kind of find it hard to believe that somebody so rich didn't have no children. Let me see what this is. The Will of Daniel Blake. You just got to find it. They didn't put a link to it. Ain't that a bitch? They didn't put a screenshot of it or anything. Let me just type that in real quick. I could be able to find it. Let's see. The Will of Daniel Blake. Let me just see if I get anything easy. No, let me put slave owner. Board House Plantation. Daniel Blake owned 559 slaves in 1860. At his plantation, Blake had a fine church. But you see what it says right there? Yemasi? And I was sitting there at the same time talking about the Combahee River. Sounded like some Indian shit. John's son William Blake inherited the plantation. Earliest known date of existence, 1690. Part of the land grant to Joseph Blake. We're talking about Daniel Blake, 1873 Daniel Blake. So they're saying that this nigga got the land during what time frame? Earliest known date of existence, 1690. Part of the land grant to Joseph Blake. Joseph Blake's son, William Blake, inherited the plantation from a Joseph Blake in 1690. 1690, Indian Wars timeline. Let me consult the timeline. You know what I'm looking for, right? The Yamasi War. 1715 to 1718. Yamasi tribe in South Carolina retreated to Florida Seminoles. And this was saying, what now? This plantation is where? In South Carolina. Ain't that where I just said it was? The Yamasi War was? Didn't I just say that shit? Where'd it go? South Carolina. Yamasi War. This is, and I'm gonna tell you what I'm thinking, because this is what I typically see. You have a Indian War that happens. Then all of a sudden, after said Indian War, settlers come in and assume the identities of the people who they just drove out. And you have this timeline, like this part of the timeline, they don't have much information on. I feel like they made up, because they will make up a timeline prior to the people who they do have paperwork on. But you got William Blake died and left the plantation to his son Daniel Blake, the main house of the Aldings. But there's like when the Chickamauga Wars happened with the Cherokee, that's when I saw on my friend's family tree their people start being moved to the south right after that. And then names being taken, the Dunn surname. You had the Dunn surname being all of a sudden used by white folks there, but they was used by Indians who are full-blooded Creek Indians, and Creek are some of them, and another one too. But some of those people are made up of Yamasi and people from the tribe. It's like an amalgamation of different tribes and Seminoles and stuff like that. The main house building is destroyed. Blake house or whatever. Okay. But do we have a will for them? That's what I was looking for. References. Melanie's Wells, Cherokee Plantation in the Hard Country. These are their sources. 30 to 15 plantation file held for the South Carolina Historical Society. Margaret Kim. I don't see a will here, so I'm really curious where the will is at. But let's get back to this, because they didn't put it in here. It's 1778. Let me just put the year 1778, and I'm gonna leave it alone after that. That's crazy. Let me screenshot this if I didn't already, because that and a good tie to the Yamasi War. Let me screenshot the Yamasi War time. It's like y'all drove out some Indians and brought in some Africans. It's just idiotic. It's just idiotic. Okay. Go back to the book. I was gonna do the 1778, but to the book. Okay. They had no children. Who had no children? Oh yeah, the Blakes, whatever. When Daniel Blake died in 1780, his estate was appraised. The appraisers recorded a total of 730 enslaved people scattered across his several plantations on the Combahee River. It's almost like he took over a whole location of Indians or something. Just it's like 730 is a lot of people spread across. You're not really us. Anyways, the total number he owned is a little less than that figure, as some of the plantations included enslaved people he was holding in trust for the granddaughters of Mary Bull, his wife being one of them. Increasingly, a familiar name stands out on the Combahee River plantation called Board House. The name Musa is recorded for the first time in the Blake family estate records. he most likely was one of the men, that came from, or boys that came from the Gambia River or Sierra Leone. We don't know. We're just going to throw in some places out there, But I guess they say he had an account from that book. His name is Arabic for Moses. And the likelihood of him practicing the faith of Islam prior to arriving to South Carolina is extremely high. How come they still ain't doing it? Anyway, seeing that many scholars estimate that 1/3 of the Africans brought here were Muslim. Scholars say that? Where did they get that information? I thought they didn't even know these niggas' names half the time. Y'all used to say these niggas was brought over as cargo and y'all didn't know no names. And as you seen that, you didn't know no names. They, according to that book, they were just brought over. I guess they was brought over as cargo and they just put little numbers on them. And you're supposed to assume it, right? And these people could have just been called coming from Africa. And then when they get here, you talking to some scholars saying they estimate that they were Muslim? What the hell told you that? I thought they came over butt naked, nigga. Were they praying every 7 times a day, nigga? What the hell? Anyway, when the first Africans, now we're to the document, were brought to the New World, Islam was well established in West Africa. It rapidly started to spread from the east of the Senegal River all the way to the west of the Lake Chad area after a conversion process started from the Tukur in northern Senegal. Ethnic groups such as the Wolof and Mandinka were a part of the conversion process, both of whom lived in Senegambia area. We're going to get to that. By looking at Blake's estate records, it can be determined that he had a sizable number of Mohammedans, as they were sometimes called, on his plantation. Musa, where did you? Hold on, I missed the source. I think we did that one. Yeah, that's the wife of William Mary Bull. Servant Allah. It just says servants of Allah on the footnote. What kind of footnote is that, nigga? I'm trying to figure out how you know that these... Okay, whatever. By looking at the Blake's records, you should be showing me the Blake's record. That's what I was expecting to see, is the record of the Blake's plantation calling this nigga Musa. That's what I wanted to see, okay? And this might be the one over here, but we're going to see. It says, Musa wasn't the only one. There are several other men and women bearing the name Arabic-derived names of Ami, Bila, Fatima, and Wali. The names of other enslaved people reveal an affirmation with certain tribes found in Guinea, Sierra Leone, and Senegambia region. It's because that's where they looking. They're not looking over here. But they didn't go looking through Indian records and seeing if does any of these names tie back to Indian tribes in this area that was here before we brought these supposed niggas over here. We ain't even gonna look at those names. Let's see. What was that? Okay. Senegambia regions such as affiliation. The names of other enslaved reveal an affirmation of tribes in Senegambia, Sierra Leone, and the Senegambia region such as Komba, Dimbo, Pinda, Sambo, Sena, and Manso. Many of these names can be found among the Wolof, Fula, and Mandinka peoples. The name Manso stands out as it seems to be a corruption of the Mandinka word Mansa, which means king or ruler. Here they go. Other names in the estate reveal that sometime after 1758, Blake apparently purchased more Africans coming from another region of Africa, including the Congo. This is the only thing they provided so far to prove that, but we're going to get to that. and the Gold Coast of Ghana. The days, and you have the ability to put it in here. So don't just tell me, put them in there. That's the thing, you know. But because it's like they'll find one thing they can kind of be misconstrued. My bad, I'm gonna look down and see what you're saying. They can be kind of misconstrued or whatever, and then they'll build a full case, never showing any other documents. Said they are telling on themselves, stolen royal indigenous. She said, but I thought they weren't even from that area. They were from another continent. I gotta remember that and go back and look at my studies. Yeah, like these people, they can't keep none of the stories that they've told us, you know, fit when you really read through the books. And then you got to start wondering what's the lie and what isn't the lie. You know what I'm saying? They from another continent, like, okay, these people crazy. So, other names of the state revealed that sometime after 1758, Blake purchased some more Africans from the Congo, including the Gold Coast. The day's name accounted for on many of his plantations. The people coming from the Congo region are apparent as one of the enslaved people at another Combahee plantation was called Congo. It was a quite common practice. Let me click on that. See the Blake Estate Inventory. Okay. It was quite common practice for newly arrived Africans to be given names of the regions they came from. Hold on, what? It was a quite common practice for newly arrived Africans to be given names of the regions they came from. That ain't what y'all said in the past. See Joshua Grimble's Estate Inventory, 1758, South Carolina District, in the Family Search. I'll check that. We'll check that. I want to read through this and because I want to get to this one page where they get to the names. But it's like y'all for the longest they've told us that when these people came over, these people didn't have any names. They erased everything about you that was African. And when you got here, we just gave you names like Tom and John, and we gave you first names first. And then you was only known by first names only for a while. And then at some point, we was like, well, we need to give you a last name, so just take mine. And now it's very well quite common practice for them to be named African names too, from where they came from. Really? Now? She says, walk them around the tree of thoughtfulness. Yeah, forgetfulness, my bad. Yeah, exactly. Hell yeah, that was a whole thing too. Don't you understand what you did to us? You made us walk around the tree because you wanted us to forget. I remember somebody was on the motherfucking live stream crying and going loud, spitting out this propaganda. You made us forget everything. And you act like you don't even care. All my African history is gone. Okay? You don't walk me around the tree and now I can't even remember. That tree was real. Like, nigga, do you really believe go walk around the tree real quick. Go walk around the tree real quick and see if you forget some shit, nigga. You might forget you just ran or walked around the tree and it was the dumbest thing you just thought about doing. Because it was this niggas is crazy. To even believe that story. We gave you to the white man afterwards as a blank slate NPC nigga. And by the time you got to the other side, you knew English without reading and writing. Okay. These people are crazy. Excuse me, y'all. Excuse me. All right. They are, goodness. They also were called by their tribes they came from. Really? When's the last time you heard a nigga, seen a record from a nigga with a tribe name from Africa? Mandika nigga. Come on, man. These niggas probably done made up some new, come on. One man's name was Jola, suggesting that he was from the Jola tribe. and then lived in the Senegambian area. You think them niggas knew that nigga came from the Jola tribe? Even if you want to, because the story goes, they just bought you off the coast, because the Africans, like she said, walked you around the tree of forgiveness, right? And then they brought people from all over. They didn't even know where they came from. And when they put you on the boat, you couldn't even speak to each other because they separated you. Yeah, they didn't even want you talking to each other. And by the time you got there, the white man knew that you came from the Jola tribe. And he said, I will name you your tribal name that we just tried to get you to forget through the tree of forgiveness. Niggas are stupid. Niggas are stupid. Let me screenshot this dumb shit. That's worth a good little video to talk shit. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make lots of videos about this nigga's book just talking shit. And we've only been through a few pages, nigga. Imagine when I read this whole book. And it's about the Geechees too. Nigga, imagine I read this whole book, nigga. I'm gonna have so much content to go off on this nigga. Somebody gonna hit me up. Ain't nobody gonna hit me up. Don't nobody know this nigga. Don't nobody give a fuck about no David Blake or Darius. No, Darius. Nobody give a fuck about Darius. You can manipulate a nigga named Darius. Sorry if there's anybody here named Darius. but was never from there in the first place. Yeah, it never was. But here we gonna call you this tribal name. These people are crazy, man. All right, it may be a shock to some that any of these people retain their ethnic names. Yeah, it's a shock because your propaganda said everything's completely different. Now you got Darius, the 22-year-old genealogist, on the motherfucking hunt. And he's blowing this motherfucking history wide open about Africans. All right. Original name strip. Okay, say retain their ethnic names. As many of us were taught that when all Africans were brought here, their original names were stripped away from them. Many of us may have come to this conclusion after the TV series Roots came out. Oh, you slimy motherfuckers. You slimy motherfucker. You trying to get a little... Y'all know, because y'all know this is done by the same people. Y'all know that the story is now known as a motherfucking lie. So this is trying to claim credibility by claiming the book as a lie. Like, look, we ain't got nothing to do with them people that did that root shit, right? That was a lie back then. This is the truth from Darius, the 22-year-old genealogist. Okay, go with it. But in a scene where says many of us may have come to this conclusion after watching the TV show Roots came out. And all the other stuff they wrote in propagandist school books, nigga, don't forget that. Nigga, the other literature, museums and shit, nigga, are you just gonna throw Roots out there? Anyways, because I didn't say Roots and I came up with the same conclusion earlier. We was kind of thinking about this just a moment ago. And we didn't think we actually did touch on Roots earlier though. That's kind of funny. But in a scene where that's how that's how it works too. That's exactly how it works. That's a synchronicity in itself. Because this nigga just a minute ago he was on the Kunta Kinte shit. In a scene which Kunta Kinte is ferociously whipped for refusing to accept his new name of Toby, he eventually gave in and accepted his fate. A lot of the enslaved people recorded his estate would have gone through that same process of being stripped from cultural names. Yeah, because it was asinine. It was dumb as fuck for them to even make the stupid shit. I'm going to beat the name out of you. You going to forget your name. Okay. The process obviously wasn't strong enough as children, grandchildren, and their descendants had ethnic names that show cultural transmission. Here they go. The population of Africans, they're trying to rewrite the lies that they fucked up. That's basically what they try to do at this point. It says, so they were indoctrinated by the propaganda. They were being stripped from their cultural names to turn around later in 2025 and call them Africans. Exactly. Exactly. And it doesn't make, none of this stuff makes any sense. They've been telling us forever everything was stripped completely, and that we didn't have like even more accounts that not only did they take away, that they gave us the other names and all this other stuff, and these people are trying to claim that in this book. And he started to say, "Hey, look, no, I found a book with Africans in it. Don't." Now I'm not gonna show you a lot of them. I'm just gonna show you this one little document that we're gonna look at again. But just go with it. Check the will yourself. That's what these hyperlinks is basically saying. Go check the family inventory, nigga. I ain't gonna give you no link to it. Why would I do that? Go check. Go find it. All right. Okay. So it says this population of Africans were the beginning of cultural and ancestral source of knowledge passed down throughout the generations on the Blake's Combahee River plantations that eventually would make it to their descendants, who would witness the next few heirs of the Blake's family estates. Yet nobody can speak any African languages. That's funny. In 1792, Daniel's wife Elizabeth died. In her will, she bequeathed the Negroes left me by my husband to his youngest nephew, Daniel Blake. What does it say? Will of Elizabeth Blake in some years. Go find it yourself. Okay. But they put the link to the other book. They put the link to the Lauren's account book in there. Why couldn't you put the links to these? That's why that's why this is. Although the original will was altered by numerous codicils, the original will was altered. What? It does appear that the enslaved people left to her by her husband did go to his nephew Daniel Blake. Later used several enslaved people recorded in each of their estate inventories as collateral in 2 mortgages. Now here's one. South Carolina slave mortgage records. So I'm curious about that. Curious about that. Let's see if I can get that link to pop up. Come on now. Or at least highlight it. There we go. No, I need the whole thing. I need the whole damn thing. Damn it. Okay, here we go. Excuse me, y'all. Let me get rid of that dot and get rid of that shit in the beginning. Ain't that a bitch? Let me put the dot on the end, see if that makes a difference. Nope. Let me search the Daniel Blake and Lawton, whatever, 1825. Take that part off. Come on now. South. Let me do one more thing, then we'll get back to the damn. We'll do the South Carolina Secretary of Slave Mortgage Workers. Oh, hold up. I thought I was on my damn photo. South Carolina, Secretary of State, Mortgage Records. Family Search, Slave Mortgage Records. Okay. Collection details page. Slave Mortgage Records. We'll type in, what was her last name? Blake. And log into this bitch. And there's Daniel Blake. Which Blake did he say was on? Daniel Blake to Andrew Lawhen, 1825. Family Search, January, and his wife Affie and sons Peter, Rose Hill, Cypress, whatever. Come back now, what happened? What the hell happened? And now you act like you don't want to load up. What the fuck? Daniel Blake to something Lawfen. Several Daniel Blakes. Let me just click on one. Greet his name Andrew Lawhen. Why didn't they just put the damn screenshot in there? Why I gotta go do this? See what I'm saying? Y'all have the ability to put screenshots in the book. What, you being cheap, nigga? Costs more per page if I do it that way. It's like 25 cents more per page. I don't know what the fuck, man. Got me having to go do this goddamn work. And now I gotta read goddamn cursive and find this shit, and the shit is just fucking... I'm not about to do that right now. They could have easily just put it right here, okay? Whatever. Let me go back to the book. So it says, when Daniel's father, whatever, come out like, okay, Daniel Blake to his elder son Joseph and his children went to the lands on the Combahee River. Because I've been trying to find a document that said Moose's name or some other Africans' names besides the one he does have here in the paper that looks kind of like it could be anything. That's what I'm really trying to search for. Everything else is just a nigga talking. Everything else is just this nigga just saying some shit and referencing some sources. So without a primary source, you can kiss my ass. I'm not going to take you so I ain't going to take it to be real. But though not named in the will, one of those plantations he inherited on the Combahee River was called the Bonnie Hall. Daniel, on the other hand, inherited the Combahee River plantations on the other side of the river, namely Board House, Savannah, Hickory Hill, Calf Pen, Cricket Hill, Hurricane Hill, Walnut Hill, Penn Hill, and Pleasant Hill, along with the lands of the Savannah River and the enslaved people on them. The new heirs of those rice plantations were now in charge for some of my ancestors' life on the rice plantations was about to begin. You gotta think, man, this kid is young. Somebody's feeding him some of this stuff. This nigga, like, it's gonna take me some time to read through these motherfucking wills and some of these books to try to even corroborate what the fuck he's saying without him actually putting the actual source photograph right there. So do I believe that this 20-something-year-old nigga went and found all these documents like I'm doing and actually read through these hoes, transcribed these bitches? I don't think so. But Now, if anybody did, it would have been a team of people who were over this project, who pay him likely or something, who put him in place for this shit and to write this book. And they gave him all of these talking points because they can, they're good at referencing where these things are at. We'll tie back to this source, and we got this source right here, and we can tie back to that source. And I can't say that doesn't sound like anything far-fetched because nigga Alex Haley did this shit, and the nigga Alex Haley shit was in the goddamn goddamn motherfucking she said everything was surface. My bad. I'm just gonna look it down. Appreciate that. She said bless you. Appreciate that. Yeah, like the everything like what was I saying? It's not like I believe that this kid has, could do that. I believe that these people are over these. Oh, it's not like it's a far-fetched thing that to know that they will grab sources and claim those sources to be theirs. That's not such a far-fetched thing at all because we've seen them do it. So that's why I can't just believe this shit on face value. And I really question why nigga didn't put a damn screenshot in when you screenshotted other shit. When young Daniels, blah, 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 plantations, blah, 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 blah. Let me go to that next page. Okay, now we're here, which we'll read through one or two more pages, and then we'll go back to that, what you call it. But these are the names that he didn't show full proof of at all. And I would have to go searching in random-ass records to see if these names actually do pop up. Somebody tried to say Kwamino. We already went through that. But Musa is supposed to be the name or whatever. And they said that's the African equivalent to Musa, Mount Musa or whatever. And then you got a Mansa. So you had a Mansa Musa, like half Mansa, half Musa nigga here. Like, that don't even make no damn sense, nigga. That don't make no sense. But, yes, they took our kings over there. Wouldn't they kill the king? That nigga would remember everything, wouldn't he? And most of these people came over. Wasn't they young? Nigga talking about named after a king. Anyway, when Daniel Blake took control of the Combahee River plantations, he inherited several hundreds of enslaved people who spent their entire lives growing rice. The cultivation of rice. Oh, yeah, you didn't. So my bad. The cultivation of the rice was a long process that took knowledge of all the intricate steps for its production. A typical day for them consisted of spending many hours tending to and maintaining the rice fields on the whatever. Growing rice consisted of both dangerous and strenuous labor to those who were involved in its production. Enslaved people were constantly standing in moisture. You know what? Real quick, let me just see if there's like a quick YouTube short on growing rice. Growing rice. Let me see if I can find a short. You would think a short would have popped up. Whoops. Growing rice. Well, I just saw something that said I could filter this bitch. I can't just look through YouTube Shorts. I can search through YouTube Shorts.
A work crew.
Growing rice. I guess I ain't no YouTube Shorts. This is 2 minutes. How does rice grow?
The rice we eat in the UK comes from India, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, Pakistan, and rice grows in a paddy field. It's different to a field you might see in this country because it's usually flooded with water, which is just how the rice plants like it. The water protects the rice plants from extreme heat and cold and stops the weeds from growing by making the ground too waterlogged for them to take hold. Some rice fields are irrigated with water from nearby rivers. Others are rain-fed areas containing water that falls during the monsoon season. The rice plants start their growing cycle in a nursery paddy field. After 1 month, the seedling plants are put into small bunches and transplanted to a larger field to allow them to grow to their full size. The ground in the larger paddy field is prepared for the seedling rice plants by ploughing. They use oxen to pull the plough through the waterlogged field. The small bunches of rice seedlings are then planted in the main field by hand. The seedlings are given plenty of space in the ground because the rice plants will grow to be around 1 meter tall. It takes 3 months for the grains of rice to develop at the top of the plant stalks. When the grains turn yellow and hard, it's time for them to be harvested. In this field, the rice has to be harvested by hand, so during the harvest, the paddy field is drained to make it easier for the workers. The farmers harvest the rice by cutting the stalks with a sickle. Next, they separate the grain from the stalks by threshing it. This is usually done by hand. In some places, the rice is spread out, like this, and the heat of the sunshine dries it out.
Okay, now I'm gonna say growing rice Africa real quick. I'm gonna see. In Africa, rice harvest Hudson.
This setting could easily be mistaken for West Africa at harvest time.
Okay, let me go for it. Hold on. What do they fields look like?
Build community in 2013. But these fields are... The man everyone was in 2013 with his wife Dawn. His dream was to utilize his ancestral knowledge and begin farming here in the Hudson Valley.
My wife told me I'm crazy. How am I going to grow rice? I said, this is from my ancestors. They teach me this.
But more than farming, the farmer wanted to build...
See, the thing is... And that's why I wanted to see this.
Yes. Since I was a little kid, I've been farming. I would like to keep it going as long as possible. I love it. It's a culture that I love to do, and I want to...
Man, we don't look like these niggas, man. We don't look like them niggas. But reason why I wanted to see this is just to kind of get a comparison on the land and how they doing it on their land and our swamp area like land. Like, it's just like, okay, coastal land, grow some rice, you know. Not saying that you can't grow rice in Africa. Obviously, you can grow rice in Africa. But I just wanted to see kind of what they process. They're pretty much the same process. You just got to have like some marshy land, some wet land or whatever, and, you know, plant you some rice and moving over or whatever. But the reason why I was trying to remember why I was thinking about that. Why did I go through this? Because he's talking about like how grueling of a process it is. Growing rice consists of both dangerous and strenuous labor. It didn't seem that bad. I mean, don't you have to plant? I mean, for a moment, I was like, that's what I remember. For a moment, I was like, when you plant each one of those little seedlings, is each one of those like just one piece of rice? You know what I'm saying? Then I was gonna be like, well, damn, that would take a lot of work because that's a whole lot of rice. I'm thinking about my little bag of rice, but no, each one is a plant, and at the top comes up a bunch of the little rice seed, little things at the top, or whatever. So that's why I remember I was trying to remember, why did I go looking at that? Because he's trying to make it seem like it's up a bunch of the little rice seed, little things at the top, or whatever. So that's why I remember I was trying to remember, why did I go looking at that? Because he's trying to make it seem like it's this hard to do thing. Nigga, it's no different than you plant any other fucking plant. You put a fucking seed in the ground. You know what I'm saying? It looks like there was a slight different process. Like he said, like there's what did he say? It was a process that consisted of many hours of tending and maintaining the rice fields. I mean, the lady just said the motherfucking rice grew in 3 months and many hours tending the fields. It looks like they planted it. It grew. They may have went out there. I don't even remember seeing no in between process from when it started to growing from the planting to them actually harvesting this shit. Let me just make sure I'm not tripping. Cause that, and to be honest, what I'm getting at with that is it's more propaganda, because it makes you think. It's like exaggerating the story to give you an emotional effect over this shit that you read. But when we was, it was like, okay, other rainfield areas, okay, talked about that. It says the nursery paddy field, niggas was doing their little thing, right? And then they put the little seedling plants in the bunches, right? After they done planted them. Hold on, so wait a minute. First you plant them.
Rice.
Water protects the rice. Okay, so the rice grows in paddy fields, flooded with water. So you can do it as long as you flood the area with water, or it's already got the water. All right, water protects the rice, okay? So then, and stops the weed. So then rice fields are irrigated with water. So let me just say this. So basically what you have is a normal plant that you would plant in the water, in the ground. The only thing that you're doing differently is that you're flooding the area with water to protect the rice. Okay, I got it. All right, that's not too hard. I mean, you gotta plant a seed, right? You gotta put the bitch in the ground, right? I don't think that's hard, nigga. I mean, other than, a little back breaking. If you're trying to do a whole field and feed everybody, but if you're trying to feed yourself and your family, it ain't too hard. Others, rainfield areas, okay. Nursery paddies. And then it says seedling plants into small bunches. So now they've already grown, and now you got to go out and cut them bitches into bunches, right? Okay. Prepared plowing. Oh, so you have a seedling plant, and after you get the seedling plant, then you replant the seedling plants planted by hand. So it's a little bit different, okay? But you just basically planting it twice. I get what's going on. Give me a second. You basically plant it, watch it. When it gets to a certain stage, take it out and replant it. Hold on, y'all. I got it. Thank you. Exclamation point. Okay. Take it out. Replant it. Okay. Then wait 3 months for the rice to grow. And then you harvest it by hand by going through and cutting them into bunches. And then taking those bunches and smacking them on something to release the rice. So, and then you treat them. Heat them up in the sunshine and whatever. 3 months of work. 3 months of solid, decent work. Like, the way he's explaining it is making it seem, I just had to do that for myself because I know these people are going to do that. And, it's like, is it that hard to do? No, anybody can do that. Anybody can figure this rice shit out. You know what I'm saying? Rice can grow anywhere, Asia, wherever the fuck. Enslaved people, rice plantations, these harsh conditions, snakes and even alligators. And don't get me wrong, yeah, if you out there in a marshy ass land As long if you ain't got no fence protecting you, which like I feel like somebody would have like built a fence, a little something to try to keep away the motherfucking whatever. But these harsh conditions contributed to an extremely high mortality rates in the enslaved people of the rice plantations. Now, if they have extremely high mortality rates, right, coming from a boat, and there was only 300 and some 30,000 of them from a boat, you get where I'm going with that? And I would know 90,000 because we got records of only 90,000. If there was extremely high mortality rates, that means a lot of them didn't procreate with us African. I mean, with us. Oh my God, a lot of them couldn't have procreated with us Indians, right? They was out there with these extremely high mortality rates. So y'all better choose y'all words wisely. Here you are trying to overcompensate on the exaggeration of growing some fucking rice, okay? Niggas was getting ate by alligators. Okay. Here you are, and you putting too much fluff on it. Because if the extremely... Now I'm about to call you. Let me see what this little thing says. Hanks Daniels, mapping the antebellum rice fields as a basis for understanding human and ecological consequences of the era of slavery. Land. Number 8. So some book written by some dude in modern times talking about it, and probably gave him the story of people being eaten by alligators and shit. You know what? I want to see if this nigga is saying that there was an extremely high slave mortality rate too. Let me just see. You lying motherfuckers. I'm gonna use that in a video. Oh, so only 90,000 came over, and y'all was and y'all were unaliving extremely. Oh. So y'all didn't really get a chance to procreate. I mean, it was harsh situations, wasn't it? The mortality rate was high. Mapping the antebellum download. Do I download it? Download the PDF. It is some random, I guess possibly peer-reviewed, Department of Forestry and Environmental Conservation, the Folk Land Management, Numerous Wildlife Foundation, the New South and Associates, Inc., Ponce de Leon, the Levine Science Research Center, the Department of History, Carnegie Mellon, mapping antebellum rice fields as a basis for the understanding human and ecological consequences for the era of slavery. Y'all know what I take from this first page? These are organizations that are invested in so-called learning about your slavery times. Why? The Carnegie Mellon University? The Levine Science Research Center. We need to study a little bit more about those slavery antebellum rice fields. Yeah. I feel like we can uncover a new era archaeological evidence that may have never been seen in such times before. Get your bitch ass. These people are... Who are these people? Why do these people are so invested in coming up with these documents? And these people are going to be full of white folks. Look, let's look up some of these places. Let's look up some of these places. I could just stop here, but no, let's see what the fuck we can see. The Department of History. Carnegie Mellon University. Social and political history. Look, they got black folks. Is this an HBCU? Is it Carnegie? I don't think so. Carnegie Mellon University. Hold on. I don't think so. Amazon and Carnegie Mellon University, strategic, whatever. Yeah, definitely not an HBCU. You got people like Lamech Benny, you're African out there. put niggas in place, huh? Okay. Let me go back. Okay. So that, oh yeah, that took me here. So this is your source? No. The source was the what you call it. I'm looking up I'm losing my train of thought. I'm looking up this. Let me look. I mean, I can see who this is about, but we see it's just some white university and they got a program to study niggas. Here's the faculty of the Department of History, Social and Political History. So when you click on that, when you click on the lovely looking photo of our people, which is probably AI, it takes you here, and you get this person who's the director of social. So she's really interested in learning about the history of slavery times and colonial era in the rice plantations, y'all. Or Ricky Law, that's a him, or a non-binary nigga. You got Beth Jameson. She's very interested in learning a little bit more about the rice history. The faculty down here, you have Edith Fields Black. She's your token amongst the rest of them. And Mr. Ezel Sanford III, looking like he is definitely a Mason, probably part of a fraternity and paid, right? Mr. Joe Williams Trotter, when they take them photos in front of, old ass library books, like, as if this nigga's really reading the books behind them. Little token people. But you got all these other people who's really interested in studying this. And you got to think, these 3 black people sit in a room full of these folks and discuss. I really appreciate you all allowing us the opportunity to discuss more about the history of the antebellum rice fields of the antebellum South. Let's see who else. I'm gonna look up one more. I ain't gonna stick on this too much longer. I'm gonna have to start moving around here shortly. The Department of Forestry and Environmental Conservation. I don't even have to look that up. The Folk Land Management. All these people, man. New South and Associates. I'm curious. What's New South and Associates? Let me see if I can get closer. Because these are the people coming up with documents that Darius Brown can cite as a source. That's all they pasted. New South Associates, Cultural Resource Management, providing perspectives of the past. Okay. New South Associates is a women-owned cultural resource management. Okay, like you're keeping things of people's culture. Firm established in 1988. Our team has expert knowledge of historic buildings and structures, archaeological sites, cultural landscapes, historical records, cultural artifacts, and other resources from the past. Why do you have them? New South Associates has the expertise and technological tools to deliver technically accurate sound studies to ensure compliance with the National Historic Preservation Act. So they make money off of having these documents and stuff and being able to be researchers. Okay. These are some of the people who are part of this program. They are very much so interested in your history and telling the story of the Geechees and whoever the hell else they feel like. So yeah, anyway, this and the document, introduction, humans have altered it. Let me just see if there's anything major. Talking about some mapping of the area. They've made a chart. Looks like they're doing some studies about the land. Historic rice fields of South Carolina. Historic? How historic? How far back do the rice fields of South Carolina date back to? Did they have a date like that? Evaluation of the story right field. See if I see any dates that pop out in my head real quick. Not in my head, but on the page real quick. Or anything. The geographic area extend utilized. There's an average of 53% more rice fields were built using enslaved persons in the heart of antebellum rice area culture than previously known. Historic rice fields that we detected span the distance of whatever along the South Carolina coast were found as far inland and represented clearly. We feel our area of commission, however, the experts, whatever. Using LiDAR and some other stuff. Inland, they ain't giving me no like dates or something like that. Historic field, rice fields. Mapping the extend historic rice fields, South Carolina green polygons. The map of historic rice fields were geographically coincident with the end of the city, the amount matter with the wetlands, emerging herbaceous, whatever, herbaceous, wetlands would cover two span, whatever. I was trying to see if they gave me a date, like on how long the rice fields were there or something. You call them historic and shit. Distribution of historic. Why? So I don't even know why this was even mentioned. Besides the fact that they do keep mentioning the fact that enslaved Africans or enslaved people were used for the blah blah blah, the human condition, the past, present, and future, blah blah blah, whatever. It's some all modern day. Most of this is just looking at the land. Anything they're talking about as far as slaves doing anything in here would be just conjecture, not anything backed up with some type of source, likely. Because they're mostly doing like some geographical kind of thing. Okay, whatever. Let me finish up this last little page. Where you at? Growing rice, harsh and slaves. Okay. One of the first steps of the cultivation of rice is clearing the brush for the trees from their area where the rice was to be planted. All of this was completed by hand, tools, and muscles after everything was cleared. And the next phase was consistent of creating a highly sophisticated hydraulic system that included... Did this nigga say a highly sophisticated hydraulic system that included ditches, embankments, and canals, causeways, reservoirs, and trunks? Like a hydraulic system. Define hydraulics. Make sure I'm not tripping. The branch of science and technology concerned with the conveyance of liquids through pipes and channels, especially as a source of mechanical force or control. Hydraulic systems, mechanisms, or forces. So flooding an area, building a ditch, so that way you can flood an area with water when it rains or get water from wherever, a lake or wherever you channel it from. It's not hydraulics, okay? These people try to do this exaggeration, man. Let me picking shit apart. Hydraulic system that included ditches, embankments, canals, causeways, reservoirs, and trunks. So that's not hydraulics. This process included the very strenuous labor of moving miles of earth to create elaborate systems and thus took a toll on the worker's body. So you mean to tell me when these Africans came here, they knew how to move earth to create canals from a landmass they knew nothing about and to flood it off of whatever water sources and things, and it just didn't make, this doesn't make no sense. And he's trying to, it's like, this is what you call exaggeration. There were, first of all, most of these areas that have peaks and valleys, like ups and downs. But either way, even if you do dig some stuff, they act like these niggas didn't have no kind of digging tools. They act like these niggas On top of that, we were building mounds. Niggas was really and think about this. Think about this. Now that I'm really thinking about it. You mean to tell me you needed people to move tons of earth and you was able to go get some Africans who've never done any mounds of moving tons of earth, like that when y'all saw hundreds of thousands of mounds. You said, hey, look at these Indians over here building up all this shit. They should know how to do a lot of shit, move a lot of earth. But fuck them. Let's unalive much of them, move them off to some area and bring in these Africans so they can move some earth too. It's just, come on now. Come on now. Operate the Porch Creek Indians in Alabama. Reminds me of the folks who operate the Porch Creek Indians in Alabama. I don't know nothing about the Porch Creek Indians in Alabama. Or you might have been talking about when I was showing them things. They probably full of white tea folks. And yeah, over Melanin Empress said above, and there's always a white tea who is an expert on everything black. Every time. Nigga said it's pretty pale and and as we expected, it's about the only logical explanation. Man. The federal recognized tribes. Yep. Yeah, man. And so here they go. You got people talking about moving earth and they acting like they was strenuous to them. Well, we was doing it with ease to honor our ancestors and other things. But it says 2 types of rice cultivations were implemented on many of the low country rice plantations. These were tidal rice cultivation and inland rice cultivation. Tidal rice cultivation used the daily river tides to draw water and floods the rice fields. Inland cultivation, on the other hand, depended on water from a nearby swamp, river, or creek that collected into a man-made reservoir. That this type of cultivation normally required more labor to maintain the reservoir and required long canals to be constructed if the source of water was too far away. As Blake's plantation, both rice cultivations were used, as some of the rice fields were directly on the Combahee River and others were farther inland near swamps. For example, Board House, Savannah, Hickory Hill, and New Hill were 4 adjoining plantations, with each having its own slave quarters. The rice fields were sectioned off, so now he's just talking. Let me say plantation. I'm gonna see if he's talking about production of rice. Around the same time, he purchased 1,100. Another rice production added to the task. Another feature of the rice plantation included harvesting the rice and the processing its mills, with the mills. So really, it wasn't that hard. He was like, it's so hard to do this rice cultivation. All you said is these niggas dug some ditches, moved a little bit of earth, and made you either made a little canal way to a little path for the water from some nearby place to get to. And I was thinking that in my head before when I saw them. I was like, if you were more inland, you probably just had to, kind of channel it. You know what I'm saying? From one little area to the next, where the water source is. You think it's that hard to build a ditch, to dig a ditch? Especially if you got hundreds of people. If you got hundreds of people there, it wouldn't take that long. Y'all would literally... Anyways. And then on top of that, the other one is just a reservoir or the tide thing. So I ain't going to keep on it. Thought I just saw something say Kwamina. Oh, I did. Hold on. I was just kind of just randomly scrolling. However, the names are near the family group of Kwamina, Quabner, and Julie Washington, some of whom were the first generations born in America. Both a Quabner Washington parents were both born in Africa, and Judy's father was born there too. Hold on, let me see. He might be talking about where these people, because that's initially what I was trying to figure out, how those people, how that Musa tied to the motherfucking document. He started talking about all this other shit now that I think about it. Eldest daughter Samuel, I'm a descendant of another couple of New Hill named Friday and Eliza Blake. They are my ancestors on my maternal grandfather's side. They were accompanied by 4 children: Sena Blake Singleton, Amelia Blake Singleton, Dorcas Blake Jenkins Talbert, my ancestor. Dorcas Blake Jenkins Talbert is his ancestor, and Betsy Blake Habersham Riley. Their names appeared as Friday, Eliza, Sena, Amelia, Dorcas, Betty, Joseph, Pender, Frank. The last 3, let me see if that's source. Lima Blake Freeman, that's the hyperlink. That's just saying the Freeman hyperlink. I would like to see those Freeman records. The last 3 names are likely to be Joseph and Mary Murray, Frank Murray. Sometime after this, D. Joseph and Penda Murray had their daughter Hannah Murray Williams Mingo, and Mingo and Nancy Giles. Mingo's the name of an Indian tribe. Appear to have been here too, but not much is known about their older children. However, the names are near the family group of Quabner, and Judy Washington, some of whom were the first generations born in America. And it just says the Quabner and Judy. It just says Quabner and Judy Washington, U.S. 1880. So if I wish I could just copy that. Quabner and Judy Washington, U.S. 1880. If I just type that in, am I supposed to get something? Quabner and Judy Washington, 1880. Of course I ain't just gonna get nothing, man. Like, what the hell, man? That's not a source. Well, what the fuck is the point of the footnote? However, names appear from the family, whatever. Both the Quabner, parents were born in Africa, and Judy's father was born there too. Ironically, and how do you know that? Ironically, after his family grouping, the name Simbra appears. My great-grandmother gave a granddaughter of hers the same name, and also saying that a relative of hers had that name. So it's almost like y'all trying to say now that they're passing these names down. They never had these names showed to be passed down before. But now you acting like these people got these African names passed down, but nobody's passing down a word, 1 or 2 words from the African language. All their names appeared as Mingo, an Indian tribe name, Nanny, Diana, Juliet, Amy, Pompey, Limas, Quamina, and we use the Q's. There's a lot of us that use the Q's. We went over that. Quamina, Judy, Will, Johnny, Bernice, Peter, Simbra, Amy, Sambo, and Lucy's other son, Matthias, whatever, Elliot, was located at Board House Plantation with his wife Lydia and his children Patty Elliott Green, Bella Elliott Smalls, Andrew Elliott, Lucy Elliott, and Nanny Elliott. Just look, it just says Patty Elliott Freeman, 1986, whatever. And these are freedmen's. So I'm curious. I'm just wondering, because some of these people were listed as, I thought was listed with the name Blake, but some of them aren't. Some of them got last names like, I don't know. These names appear, I'd have to go, because there's so many names, I'd have to break this down for real. Their names appear as Matthias, Lydia, Patty, and it's not helping that he's not putting the damn like census records or sources or anything on this bitch. Another couple found at Board House is Guy Green and his wife Lydia Singleton Green. They are related to me as London Brown Jr. said their daughter Nellie was his second cousin. Their name appears as Guy Liddy at Caesar Green Friedman in FBR. At Savannah Plantation, which adjoined board house could be found Simon Small's family. He was the driver and was accompanied with Lucy and children. It's a bunch of names. I was really thinking he was gonna get a lot more into that Musa shit. Let me just see if I see that Musa name real quick. Talking about all these other people's names, but the person that, he say these people are supposedly connected to him, but the only one he said something about coming from Africa was this Musa nigga. But these other people, I don't know. I gotta double check. That's the main one he was saying in the video I watched him about him. Part of the Billon family. Can I just search let me search the document for the word Musa. It's only on 4 pages. That's your ancestor, the one you tied to. We probably already read this. Let me see. It says another head scratcher was hearing that someone from way back was a Muslim. I wasn't the only one who was startled to hear her say that. In fact, all of us were surprised, including one of my grand aunts who asked, how we get to be Christian? But great grandmother never responded to that question. She only revealed that the person's name was Musa. What? Her superb knowledge of her family history was quite evident. Your grandmother is not going to remember no nigga named Musa from 6 generations ago, unless she did her genealogy. If she did her genealogy, then yeah. Yeah, but ain't nobody passing down no old ass African from a fucking slave boat story in his name. We gotta remember Musa. Carry the name, please. Anyway, her superb knowledge of the names of her ancestors going back several generations. She stated with her father, Joseph Giles, going back to her grandparents, Scipio Giles and Sari Brown. None of them niggas African names. She said her great grandfather was named James Giles, but they used to call him Scipio too. With passion, she yelled out her great grandfather name was Mingo. You know what? Think about this, y'all. Cause this nigga's young. This nigga's young. This whole life, this nigga's whole life, he's had access to a camera. You ain't gonna film your grandma saying this? You ain't gonna get actual proof? Anyway, Mingo job, before you do a book and get all accredited and all this money. Anyway, I remember my dad saying, Mingo, what kind of name is Mingo? He been African? She replied she didn't know, but later she said that Mingo's wife's name was Nancy. And Mingo was an Indian tribe name. While you playing games, sometimes I'd get anxious hearing her mention their names, many of whom I'd never heard before. Her grandmother's name was one of them. She would always say Sari opposed to Sarah. Oh, now it's got me thinking. Now it's got me thinking. I forgot these people speak Geechees. These people do have a different dialect, and they would mess their words up like that. So the name Sari was really possibly Sarah. But let me see. In the back of opposed to Sarah, in the back of my mind, I would always say, I don't think you're saying Sarah the right way. Little did I know that was the correct pronunciation of her name. No. Yeah, they were mispronouncing it. On her grandmother Sari's side, as it says over here, she spoke to her siblings, Matilda, Williams, because they have like a Bahamian accent, and it's real heavy. So I can see Sari. I can definitely see that. She spoke to her siblings, Matilda Williams and London Brown Jr., who also called Comby. Comby. What could they be trying to say with Comby? Their parents were named London Brown Sr. and Daphne Blake. Daphne's maiden name was the reason why she remembered that the slave's owner's name was Blake. She also remembered a man. She's trying to say they took on the Blake name from that because of that, but a man named Mordecai Williams, and remembered hearing a woman named Penda Blake, who always was with her Aunt Matilda. Penda Blake was said to be a cousin of ours, but exactly how she was related was not known. In fact, much controversy arose about the names Combi and Penda were talked about. Some noticed they sounded similar to African. Hold on. Sounded similar to African names, although many of us heard that there allegedly was some sort of Indian ancestry in the family of the Giles. You got names like Mingo. Don't go looking down that rabbit hole, Darius. Hold on, let's read this. I see the word Indian in all caps. I remember my great-grandmother being questioned on the matter, where she was asked, "You sure your daddy family wasn't from Sierra Leone or somewhere?" And she replied, "Yeah, they came from there too." How the hell she know? And she replied, "Yeah, they came from there too." And that person replied, "So where the Indian at?" And she replied, "I didn't say my daddy was Indian. I said he looked West Indian." Get the fuck out of here. And West Indian would be Caribbean. But after that, the conversation was pretty much over and no family history was talked about that day. You should have looked more into the whole West Indian thing. Okay, that Sierra Leone shit is some bullshit. But the West Indian thing, yeah, because they talk like Bahamians. They talk like people down there in the West Indies in low country, in summer low country. And I've had a lot of Geechees confirm that to me. So that's pretty funny. It's like, you got to think, he's not smart enough to know when he's going to be fucking up, so he's just kind of throwing that in there. No, I said something about West Indian. She probably could have. I think he's just making this shit up, to be honest. But it's making him look bad either way. If he looked West Indian, he didn't look African, nigga, because the people in West Indies don't look African. And definitely like no Sierra Leone motherfuckers. But anyway, it says, it always seemed that I was on the right place at the right time, in the right place at the right time. Every time I sat with the elders, a piece of history was given to me. Sometimes I feel as if I descended from several griots, oh God, who were passing the torch to me. Everything I heard from them was always in the distant past. And again, in this case, I later learned that the pieces of history I heard about the Giles family spanned a few hundred years. A few hundred? From the Giles family? I'd have to see a few hundred years from what date he's referencing. Are you referencing 2025? A few hundred years from that, or a few hundred years from one of these plantation dates. But had I not researched our family history, I never would have known that all these people she knew of would be vital to telling this history. On the other hand, none of the statements she made that day were contradictions. I only needed to broaden my understanding of the hometown. I was trying to find out more about this Musa nigga and his Musa name, and he really kind of went into some other tangents. Let me look at the other searched ones real quick, search pages. Increasingly, a familiar name stands out on the Combahee. I think we read that one. The name Musa is recorded for the first time, in the Blake Hamlet, and then we saw the so-called record that seemed like some bullshit. That was page 65, 66, we likely read it, yep. And 104 is the only other page he talks about Mr. Musa, which is his African ancestor. This is what slavery couldn't take away from our ancestors and the living descendants, the DNA. No matter how far away families were separated, we all carry a piece of each other embedded inside of us. When Musa and the other Africans were captured and shipped to Charleston and left their families behind, they carried such DNA with them and was passed down to the descendants if one sibling remained on the Combahee River and the other sent to the Santee, where they are still genetically bonded. And for us living descendants, no matter how far you separate, hold on, okay. Separate Sierra Leone, Ghana, Guinea, Senegal, Nigeria, and Congo may be from the South Carolina. The shared blood withstands the test of time. So also think about this too. So did Africans, if Africans are such the most diverse people in the world or whatever, right? And we know that that's false. That's just idiotic. But you got all these people, and life supposedly started over there. It's like they're trying to say that these people never left that area, and even when they separated each other and went to different regions called Sierra Leone, all the way down to Nigeria or Senegal, Ghana, and all these other places, they're trying to say that those people, their genetics are all still the same. They just say West African genetics. Yeah, all those niggas are still the same genetically, and when they came over here, they're still the same genetically. So when did the genetics change? Because we all know that some kind of genetic mutations happen on this world, whether they be through man-made causes, through incest breeding and genetic manipulation once they've gotten albinos, which white folks talk about, and many other things. It's just like these niggas just want you to believe they got this continual genetic marker that never mutates after thousands of years, and it came over here and it's still the same shit. And the only time it mutated, it didn't mutate the whole time it was moving about these whole areas, but it mutated at some point when it moved to Asia or Africa, or Asia or Europe or whatever, and their excuse, well, we got away from the sun, so it started changing us. Okay. Y'all niggas is stupid, man. These niggas is crazy. And Nikki said they're mixed people. Most of them are from there in origin and not from the same. And I've been hearing that. I need to, at some point, I'll be getting on to the history. And because I used to look at some of their history books. But it really wasn't talking about a lot of shit. Look, but like I bought that book too, and I didn't read the whole thing, but I made some videos off of it and picking that whole apart, and that's some bullshit. Yeah, now I done bought this bullshit ass book, and I'm gonna be picking this apart. I'm probably gonna read most of this. I'll read more through this than I will that, because this was more just all fluff. This is like all fluff bullshit. No sources, no nothing. He at least got a few sources, and this is from people who's trying to deal with redo the Geechees history and I don't like that. In fact, I'm about to do that video. That reminds me, I'm gonna do that video when I get off of here about how they said Gullah African Americans and how they're erasing Geechees. And if the Geechees don't stop them. That's their tribe. If y'all don't stop them, they're going to erase the Geechee part out of the tribe. And one day they're going to rename the Geechee River. That's going to really fuck y'all up. Well, we're going to call this the James Madison River. Yeah, James Madison settled here some time ago, and it is about time that the river be dedicated within his name. That Geechee word, we'll put a historic marker right there. Yeah, we'll put a historic marker right there that says the Geechee River was here. But everything else is gonna say it's the James Madison River. So nigga, it is what it is. All right. So y'all better be careful. Better be careful. All right, I'm gonna holler at y'all. Thank y'all for coming in. Y'all enjoy y'all day.